Chapter 262, Taking in a Disciple. The morning in Flame City was shrouded by faint fog, making this little city look a little like an immortal's realm. Wang Xian opened the window of his hotel room and gave Xiao Yu and Guan Shuqing a call on his mobile phone. Hey! At this moment, Wang Xian squinted his eyes and looked towards the entrance of the hotel. There were two figures. They were skinny but stubborn and looked familiar to him. Both of them kneeled in front of the hotel, not moving an inch. The boy and girl looked a little pale and seemed like they might faint at any moment. They are really stubborn. Wang Xian looked at the boy and girl. The boy was at most 15 years old while the girl might have been just 12 or 13 years old. From the two of them, he seemed to have seen Xiao Yu and his shadows. However, he was generally luckier. He wasn't hunted by others and didn't have to wander the world. They probably have been kneeling here for the entire night. Wang Xian was a little moved as his resolve wavered. He had never thought of taking in a disciple, let alone guiding one's cultivation. At 7+ in the morning, the boy and girl kneeling at the entrance of the hotel attracted the attention of many people. Some hotel guests that were leaving stared at them, feeling baffled. Two beggars. Why are they begging at the entrance of the hotel early in the morning? How unlucky we are to witness this. They are so young and yet are begging here. I really wonder what their family members are thinking. They must have gone crazy from thinking about money. As the guests from the hotel walked out one after another, they saw the dirty and skinny boy and girl. They couldn't help but frown and critique. These two kids are really pitiful. Only a city cleaner walked towards the two kids after seeing them. From his pocket, she took out a crumpled $10 note and said, "Hey kids, get yourself some breakfast." The boy looked at the old woman and shook his head. "Take it. I still have to work. Get yourself something to eat." The old woman threw the $10 note on the ground before moving to the side and starting to clean the streets. The boy and girl didn't say a word and simply kneeled there. They were clearly fatigued but still looked attentively towards the entrance of the hotel. "What? Master, there are two beggars right there." At this moment, a group of 7 to 8 people walked out from the hotel. Among them, a little boy pointed at the boy and girl kneeling at the entrance of the hotel as he exclaimed. He ran towards the boy and girl excitedly while scrutinizing them. "My servants, you may rise." The little boy was roughly 13 to 14 years old. He stood in front of the boy and girl and shouted mockingly while imitating what he had seen on television. "I have already told you to rise. Why are you still kneeling down? Disobedient." The little boy tucked his hands on his waist and was clearly displeased. He continued shouting, "Your young master is asking you to rise. Can't you hear him? Ha ha ha." The little boy broke into laughter while speaking. He looked to the girl beside and extended his hand over to pinch her face. "Get lost." Seeing that the little boy was reaching towards his sister to pinch her face, the boy that was kneeling down was furious and pushed him away. That little boy staggered and almost fell. "How dare you push me? I'm going to beat you to death." The little boy was furious to have been pushed away. He lifted his leg and kicked towards the head of the other boy. Although the little boy was young, he was extremely agile and fast while striking. The force and speed of his kick was even stronger than an ordinary hunk. The boy that was kneeling on the floor was enraged. He lifted his hands and pushed away the little boy again. The little boy had the strength of a level 2 martial artist at most. He was still a far cry from the other boy. Even though the other boy was kneeling down, the little boy was still pushed away. "Ah!" That little boy fell to the ground and let out a cry. "Xiao Qiu." A middle-aged man from the group of 7 to 8 people shouted worryingly and walked over from the car park slot outside the hotel. "Master, that beggar hit me." The little boy was furious. His face was flushed as he stared at the boy on the ground. "It's all right. Xiao Qiu, master will teach him a lesson on your behalf." The middle-aged man caressed the little boy's head lovingly. His attention then moved to the boy and girl on the ground. "You two are just beggars and yet you dare to hit someone. You guys really do not know where you stand." The middle-aged man stared harshly at the boy kneeling on the floor before turning to his disciple and saying, "Xiao Qiu, hit him the same way he hit you. If he still dares to retaliate, master will teach him a lesson." "Yes, master." The little boy stared at the boy on the ground and remarked, "With my master here, I'll be the one hitting you." He clenched his fist and threw it towards the boy on the ground immediately. The boy that was kneeling down could sense the ill intents of the surrounding people. He gritted his teeth and used his hands to protect himself while the little boy attacked him. However, he didn't dare to retaliate. "Heh! You are pretty good at taking a beating." Seeing that his disciple's fist was blocked, the middle-aged man was surprised and looked at the boy on the ground. "You're just a beggar without parents. Yet you dare to hit me. I'm going to beat you to death. TSK. As the little boy spoke, he threw punch after punch at the boy on the ground. "Don't hit my brother. You are a bad guy." The girl beside the boy on the ground was furious as she grabbed the little boy's hand. "How dare you scratch me? I'm going to hit you. Hit you." Seeing that the girl left a scratch wound on his arm, the little boy kicked towards the girl furiously. "Don't kick my sister." The boy on the ground pounced towards the little boy once again. "How dare you retaliate?" The middle-aged man threw a kick towards the boy on the ground after seeing him retaliate. Bam! The middle-aged man's kick landed on the boy and sent him lying on the ground, grimacing in pain. "Brother!" Beside them, the exclamation of the girl sounded. "Die." Within the hotel, while Wang Xian was still hesitating, he saw the incident at the entrance of the hotel. A cold look flashed in his eyes. He moved like a phantom and jumped down from the 6th floor of the hotel without catching the attention of anyone. "I'll ask my master to beat you to death for hitting me." The arrogant voice from that little boy sounded once again. "All right, Xiao Qiu. Don't be so calculative with a beggar. He's not qualified yet." The middle-aged man smiled and said to the little boy. Wang Xian looked coldly at the middle-aged man, the little boy and the group that came with them. He walked ahead towards the boy on the ground. "Brother, are you all right?" "I'm fine. Your brother is fine." The boy shook his head and forced out a pitiful smile. "You are pretty good." At this moment, an emotionless voice sounded. The boy turned around and was instantly overwhelmed by joy. He looked agitatedly at Wang Xian as excitement filled his face. Chapter 263, Beat Him Up. "Will you accept me as a disciple?" The boy's face was filled with thrill. He immediately knelt beside Wang Xian with a pair of eyes filled with anticipation. "Stand up." Wang Xian looked at him and patted his shoulder gently. "Master, if you don't take me as your disciple, I will not stand up," the boy said to Wang Xian with some obstinacy. "That would depend on your performance." Wang Xian looked at the boy with a smile on his face. He repeated, "Stand up now." With some hesitation, the boy stood up slowly. He supported his numb feet with his hands before he picked his sister up from the ground. Wang Xian nodded and turned to the middle-aged man and the other boy. Then, he told the boy beside him, "Duel him. Hit him just like how he did to you." "Master, he..." The boy looked at the middle-aged man and hesitated. "It's okay." Wang Xian shook his head and continued, "He has a backing, so do you?" "Yes, master." The boy brightened up his eyes as he nodded his head with force. He looked at the other boy and walked towards him. "I, Xiao Ran, want to challenge you." The boy walked towards the other boy and spoke with seriousness. "Ha!" The boy who was talking to the middle-aged man was slightly stunned. That middle-aged man was also taken aback as he looked at Xiao Ran. Xiao Ran was earnest as he repeated to the boy again, "I want to challenge you." "Ha ha, a little beggar wants to challenge other people. I think you can get lost and return to your begging." The middle-aged man found Xiao Ran funny as he teased him. "You're an adult. Don't meddle around in the kids' affairs." Wang Xian looked at the middle-aged man as he spoke coldly. "Oh." The middle-aged man spun his head and looked at Wang Xian with coldness flashing in his eyes. "Is your disciple afraid to answer his challenge?" Wang Xian looked impassively at the middle-aged man. "Ha! Just a beggar. I'm afraid my disciple will kill him by accident." The middle-aged man threw a disdainful look at Wang Xian. He then looked at his disciple. "Xiao Qiu, show them your kung fu that you learned from me. Teach that little beggar a lesson." "Yes, master." The boy nodded as he straightened his body and got into his ready stance. Xiao Ran's expression turned cold. Despite his young age, His eyes were sharp when he stared at the boy. I'm going to attack. Show them what you've learned from me. The middle-aged man smiled and spoke to the boy. Hehe, what a spoiled child. Wang Xian looked at that boy with an aloof expression. Lad, watch your mouth, said the middle-aged man to Wang Xian. Woo. Ha. Just then, Xiao Ran launched his attack at that boy with a frail-looking body. The young boy let out a cry as he attacked Xiao Ran in his stance. Bam. However, the boy was obviously not of the same level as Xiao Ran in terms of their strength and experience. Bam. Xiao Ran's fist punched forcefully on the boy, sending his teeth flying out as he landed on the ground. He did not put up any resistance at all. It was a combat of different classes. What? How dare you hurt my disciple? You're asking for your doom. When the middle-aged man saw his disciple landing on the ground instantly, he was infuriated. He reached out his arm to grab Xiao Ran. Standing at the side, Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and stretched out his hand to grab the middle-aged man by his arm. Ah! The middle-aged man let out a scream. He turned his head and stared at Wang Xian in horror. Do you want to die? I think it is you who wants to die. Wang Xian looked at him indifferently. Master. Xiao Ran walked over with a thrilled face when he saw Wang Xian stopping the middle-aged man's attack. If someone hits you, just fight with him. Don't be afraid, said Wang Xian to him impassively. Yes, master. Xiao Ran nodded his head with force. Let me go, the middle-aged yelled in embarrassment. Wang Xian was still gripping his arm. No matter how he tried to shake him off, he could not struggle out of his grip. Ka. Wang Xian looked at the middle-aged man emotionlessly. He moved his arm, and a bone-cracking sound was heard. Ah! The middle-aged let out a painful cry. Fang Liang. Junior brother. At this time, 6 middle-aged men who heard the scream turned their heads immediately. They were waiting to fetch someone when they realized the boy was lying on the floor and the middle-aged man was in pain. All of them were exasperated. Xiaoqiu. Junior brother, are you all right? 6 of them walked over and asked with nasty looks. How dare you cripple my arm? The middle-aged man was shaking as he glared daggers at Wang Xian with a darkened expression. His eyes were filled with killing intent. What? You want to die? The group of middle-aged men turned and glared at Wang Xian immediately. No, I think you guys are asking for it. Just then, a cold voice suddenly cut the air. Daunting oppression enveloped the group of middle-aged men instantly. This. For a moment, terror struck the middle-aged men. They turned around with shaken bodies. Several people walked over from the hotel entrance. 2 middle-aged men were leading at the front as one of them was giving them cold stares. Daunting oppression exuded from his body. Such oppression. This is inborn. Inborn expert. He's an inborn expert. A hint of terror flashed across their faces while looking extremely dreadful. Hee. Wang Xian cast a contemptuous glance at them. He then turned to Xiao Ran and his sister and gestured for them to walk away. They turned out to be. The middle-aged man whose arm was crippled was shivering. He stared angrily at Wang Xian. Sect leader is here. Sect leader and vice-sect leader are here. At this moment, the group of middle-aged men looked into the distance with shaken bodies and embarrassed looks. Faint glimmers flashed in their eyes. They looked at Wang Xian and his clique with ruthless expressions. Stop right there, all of you. You're leaving after you wounded Xiaoqiu and my junior brother. I'll make you pay a hefty price for this. Inborn experts. Do you think you can bully us just because you're an inborn expert? It's not going to work today even if you have inborn expert. Several middle-aged men bellowed coldly at Wang Xian and his clique with radiance flashing in their eyes. Oh! Wang Xian drew his lips when he heard their cold bellows. He spun around, gazing at them with a smile on his face. Mo Yuan and Mo Qinglong threw them emotionless glances with impatient looks. Qingmu sect is not afraid of you. If you do not give us an explanation today, you'll not leave this place easily. Several middle-aged men's barking drew the attention of another group of people who were walking towards them from a short distance. They wore green uniforms with 2 elders walking in the middle of the group. The old man took a majestic gait as he exuded imposing demeanor. Their eyes were sharp as they turned their attention over here. Chapter 264, Comparing Number of Inborn Experts. Oh! Wang Xian and the rest stopped and stared coldly at the few middle-aged men who shouted at them. You can't possibly leave like this today. How dare you cripple our junior brother's arm? We will definitely make you pay twice. The group of middle-aged men stared harshly at them after catching sight of their sect leader and members walking over. Oh! Hee. Mo Yuan looked at the group of middle-aged men and noticed another group of people from Qingmu sect walking towards them. His expression turned callous. Just as the group of middle-aged men was feeling pompous while waiting for the sect leader, Mo Yuan suddenly moved. He disappeared from his original location suddenly as one could only see a black shadow sweeping by. Ah! Shrieks of pain propagated through the air. You guys! You dare! All the middle-aged men were stunned. They looked blankly at Mo Yuan, their eyes filled with horror and disbelief. What? The group from Qingmu sect that was walking towards the incident was shocked. The two old men walking at the front of the group were clearly infuriated. How dare you injure the disciples of our Qingmu sect? You must be seeking your own demise, shouted the old man as he led the group over swiftly with his eyes fixed on Mo Yuan. How dare you show arrogance in front of us? Do you guys believe you are qualified to do so? Mo Yuan had completely ignored the approaching group of people from Qingmu sect while staring at the few middle-aged men that he had crippled completely with contempt. You! The few middle-aged men were gripped by fear. They had never expected themselves to be crippled because of some brazen words. Moreover, they were crippled right in front of the experts from their own sect. Feeling their crushed elixir field, they were desolated. With their elixir field crushed, they would become ordinary people. This made them feel despair. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, the people from Qingmu sect had surrounded Wang Xian and the group. Two old men standing in the middle of the circle looked extremely gloomy. Sect leaders, he crippled all of us. A middle-aged man reported to the two old men while grimacing in pain. If you say another word, I'll slaughter you, said Mo Yuan coldly as he stared at the few middle-aged men. You! The few of them were immediately frightened. You guys aren't even going to show us, Qingmu sect, the slimmest of respect. Great. The two old men turned their heads over and stared at Mo Yuan. From them, strong killing intent and the aura of inborn experts shrouded towards Mo Yuan. To attack their disciples right before their eyes, this was completely disrespectful to Qingmu sect. As experts, they would naturally want them to pay a huge price for their actions. Sect leaders, you have to back us up. We have two inborn experts while they only have one. Yet, they dare to mistreat us. Beside them, a middle-aged man pointed at Wang Xian and the group angrily while remarking, "We will definitely back you up on this incident. Since they dare to cripple you, I'll let them pay a price 100 times more." The two old men glowered at Mo Yuan. "If you don't give us a good explanation today, we will put you down forever even if you are an inborn expert." Two inborn experts. Wang Xian looked towards the two sect leaders of Qingmu sect and smiled mockingly. "Are you guys comparing the number of inborn experts?" asked Wang Xian in a ridiculing tone. Within the underworld, the strong rule. Those who die because they offend the strong will not be pitied. One of the old men stared at Wang Xian coldly and demanded strongly, "I'll give you 5 seconds to give us a satisfactory answer. Don't you ever harbor the idea that you could offend the Qingmu sect just because you have an inborn expert with you." The two old men put on an arrogant front as they stared gloomily at them. "You want a satisfactory answer?" Mo Qinglong smiled at them mockingly. Suddenly, the atmosphere around him changed. A horrifying and stifling aura shrouded towards the sect leader of Qingmu sect. Mo Yuan also released his aura as he pushed back. "Are you satisfied with this answer?" Mo Qinglong looked plainly at the old men with disdain. Hee. If you still aren't satisfied." Miracle Dr. Bloodman walked out slowly and stared coldly at the group from Qingmu sect. "Let's have a fight, and your death will really not be pitied by anyone." As he spoke, blood started flowing throughout his tuxedo. A strong scent of blood propagated towards the two old men from Qingmu sect. "What? When the two sect leaders saw Mo Qinglong and Miracle Dr. Bloodman stepping forward and directing their strong aura towards them, they were horrified. Rumble. At this moment, another violent aura shot over. This is bad. Facing the pressure from 4 inborn experts, the two old men were petrified, and this was clearly evident in their expressions. Perspiration covered their foreheads suddenly as they staggered back subconsciously. As for the disciples that had surrounded them, their bodies had completely gone stiff. The pressure from the 4 inborn experts made them feel like there was a mountain weighing down on them. Their bodies couldn't help but shiver slightly. Bam! Bam! A few weaker disciples couldn't withstand the horrifying and dense pressure as they fell to the ground. I'm sorry. If our Qing Mu sect has offended you guys, please forgive us. The two sect leaders of Qing Mu sect were flushed while looking at Mo Qinglong, Mo Yuan, Maniac Ji, and Miracle Dr. Bloodman with horror. They had never expected the other party to have 4 inborn expert. 4 of them. They still thought they could have easily suppressed the other inborn expert, as there were 2 of them. However, to their surprise, the other party had 4 inborn expert. That's twice theirs. Who the hell did these disciples offend? The two sect leaders of Qing Mu sect immediately begged for mercy. 4 inborn experts could easily annihilate their Qing Mu sect. Hee. Since we have given you a satisfactory answer, should you give us a satisfactory answer too? Mo Qinglong said mockingly while staring at the two sect leaders. We. The 2 old men looked conflicted as they gritted their teeth while withstanding the aura from the 4 inborn experts. The surrounding disciples of Qing Mu sect were horrified. As for those few middle-aged men, they were completely dumbfounded and lay flat on the ground. They had never expected themselves to draw such horrifying enemies because of a spoilt child. 4 inborn experts. I'll give you 5 seconds to consider. Mo Qinglong returned the words back to the 2 old men. Bam! 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 The 2 old men were bitter. They gritted their teeth, exchanged glances and waved their hands. Streams of energy fell on the few middle-aged men that were previously crippled. Ah! Shrieks of horror sounded once again. The few middle-aged men shivered violently. Their eyes were filled with despair and desolation. Their elixir fields were crushed previously, and now their limbs were crippled by their sect leaders. This made them feel like they had fallen into hell in a day. If only we had not halted them arrogantly. Remorse and regret overwhelmed the group of middle-aged men. If they had not halted this group of horrifying people, neither their elixir field nor their limbs would be crippled. Misery filled their faces. The strong ruled the underworld after all. If you offended an expert when you did not have the strength, your outcome would be devastating. Chapter 265, Sacred Clan. The crowd gathered before the hotel drew the attention of many people. In particular, today, when the news of Flame Palace getting annihilated had spread around. Numerous powerful families and sects in the surrounding rushed over here. Those who arrived early were surprised by what they saw at the hotel entrance. Ha! Isn't that Miracle Dr. Wang? And a few inborn experts around him? Sure enough. I've said Miracle Dr. Wang's subordinates were those who were pit against Flame Palace during their pilgrimage. Looks like it's the truth. Miracle Dr. Wang seems to be on good terms with those inborn expert. That is Qing Mu sect. Why did they provoke Miracle Dr. Wang and his people? Are they digging their graves? Didn't they know that Wang Xian and his people were good enough to go against the sacred sect? Seems like some Qing Mu sect disciples offended Wang Xian and his group. Sigh, Qing Mu sect is really courting their own doom. Given the strength of Miracle Dr. Wang and those few around him, they are comparable to a first-class force. Miracle Dr. Wang has a strong network. Qing Mu sect only has 2 inborn experts, and yet they actually provoked him. Most of those who arrived early had attended the pilgrimage of Flame Palace. The group of spectators whispered their comments among themselves when they saw what happened. When the Qing Mu sect disciples vaguely overheard the surrounding conversations from the center spot, their faces went green. Miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown. They might not have paid attention to this name before. But after what had happened yesterday, this name had already propagated around the surrounding provinces. He was the miracle doctor who dared to pit himself against the Flame Palace, to the extent of embarrassing them. Now, the Qing Mu sect actually offended such an existence. Damn, he could even pit himself against a sacred sect, not to mention a Qing Mu sect. 5 to 6 Qing Mu sects could not even match up to a Flame Palace. Gentlemen, are you satisfied? The 2 Qing Mu sect leaders were looking dreadful. They lowered their heads and asked this with respect. Hihi, why go to such extent? Wang Xian was sarcastic as he walked ahead. Let's go. Wow. The rest of the surrounding Qing Mu sect disciples hurriedly gave way as they saw them off with fear and respect. You'll be my unofficial disciple from now on. Wang Xian spoke to Xiao Ran indifferently. Thank you, master. My name is Xiao Ran. This is my sister, Liu Mengxin. Oh. Is she your biological sister? Yes, master. I followed the last name of my father while my sister followed my mother's. Sister, the white-colored light you released the other day was impressive. Can you teach me? I want to become your disciple. Xiao Ran and Liu Mengxin were elated as they talked to Wang Xian and Sun Lingxiu. The group of figures and their voices slowly diminished. Qing Mu sect disciples heaved a deep sigh of relief behind them. They were gasping for breath. The 2 Qing Mu sect leaders also wiped the sweat from their foreheads. How did they even provoke such a domineering existence? They looked at the middle-aged men who were lying on the floor with cold eyes. Everyone was commenting on it. A large luxury bus was driving from Flame City to Rivertown at a rapid speed. Wang Xian was hugging manuals in the car. These manuals were taken from those Fire God denomination people, which included cultivation arts of Flame Palace and Fire God denomination. They were the top-notch manuals. But they were of no use to Wang Xian. He cast a glance at Xiao Ran, who looked reserved while standing beside him. I think you also practiced fire-attributed manual? Your art of cultivation is great, said Wang Xian, looking at him. Yes, master, Xiao Ran answered as he nodded. But he quickly lowered his head. It was from my father's family. Family? Wang Xian nodded. Where did you stay? Shongjing, Xiao family of Shongjing. We came from a huge family known as the Sacred Clan, Xiao Ran answered without the slightest hesitation or concealment. Shongjing Sacred Clan? An unexpected radiance flashed in his eyes. Shongjing, the capital of the country, used to be the ancient city where emperors lived. Now, it had become one of the cities with the strongest foundations in the country. Shongjing, a place known to have gathered hidden talents and experts. In this country, sacred sect did not represent a sect, but rather, a sacred clan. However, sacred clans were rather scarce as compared to saint-class sects. Besides, every sacred clan was a powerful family with hundreds of years of legacy. The disciples in the clan could hit more than thousands. Sacred clans were not any weaker than sacred sects, they were even more united and stronger. Memorize these fire-attributed cultivation arts. As Wang Xian spoke, he grabbed Xiao Ran's arm and examined him. His physique was considered good, but it was still far off compared to inborn constitution. But Wang Xian did not unblock his 8 extraordinary meridians with his dragon energy. He had his own plan. Xiao Ran was only his unofficial disciple, and he would not turn him into a dragon. So Xiao Ran was just a human disciple. Yes, master. Xiao Ran was showing his excitement as he nodded his head hard to Wang Xian. He took the manuals and began his reading at the side. Wang Xian nodded with satisfaction. He fidgeted his finger with a ball of blue flames dancing on it. Even though you're just an unofficial disciple, I'll make you rise above the sacred clans. As an incompetent master, this flame is my gift for you. Wang Xian pondered to himself as he looked to the other side. Liu Mengxin was sitting beside Sun Lingxiu, watching her with a pair of watery eyes. This lass wished to possess magical power so that she could treat her brother's injuries in the future. Sun Lingxiu examined her body before she finally agreed to it. The bus quickly came back to the city. Maniac Ji bid goodbye to Wang Xian with respect. After witnessing Wang Xian's capabilities and strength, he was in complete awe. He could not imagine how Wang Xian could transform a ball into a divine dragon and kill 8 powerful inborn experts. Old Mo, There's another villa not far from here. Go and buy that villa, so that Xiao Ran, his sister, and you guys can stay over there, Wang Xian said to Mo Qinglong. Yes, young master. His villa was getting crowded. Wang Xian did not want too many people to disturb his happy sexual life. Lass, I roamed around the world for nearly a century. Anyone who sees me must address me as Sui Huang in respect. After you marry into the sacred clan Sui family, no one will dare to bully you. All the guys in the Sui family are outstanding. You can take your pick then. You can marry anyone you like. I'll make the decision for you. In the future, everyone in the Sui family will treat you with respect. Also, I'll let you have a taste of my strength. Don't be alarmed. Haha. Just when Wang Xian and the group of people were approaching the villa, an old man's elated voice was heard from it. Subsequently, overspreading oppression exuded from it. Chapter 266, A Powerful Old Man Rumble. A strong aura formed a field around the surroundings. The field was incomparably frightening with immense energy that sent chills down their spines. Wang Xian and the group were shocked to experience such a powerful field the moment they approached the entrance of the villa. Mo Qinglong, Mo Yuan, and the group instantly sharpened their vigilance as they walked in carefully. Wang Xian frowned slightly and was shocked by what he was seeing. At this very moment, the entire space in front of him seemed to be inside a huge furnace. Standing on the outside, he could still sense a scorching sensation. This aura. Could it be a Dan realm expert? Mo Qinglong was astonished as his gaze fixed on the person in front of him. How is it? Do you know how powerful I am now? Hey, girl, if you marry into my Sui family, not only will I give you huge authority, but I will also give you powerful strength. Do consider it. The voice of an old man sounded once again. From his tone, one could tell the arrogance and haughtiness. Standing outside, Wang Xian heard that voice as he walked slowly into the villa. Once he was in the backyard, he saw an old man in a yellow robe standing in the middle of the backyard. In front of him, Xiao Yu, Guan Shuqing and Elder Fang were standing there, looking at the old man in shock. The old man stared intensely at Guan Shuqing and it was clear that his previous words were for her. Xiao Xian. Seeing Wang Xian walking in, Guan Shuqing immediately ran towards him with joy. Huh! The old man frowned upon seeing how Guan Shuqing reacted. He turned around and started scrutinizing Wang Xian. What's the matter? Who is this old fogey? Wang Xian glanced emotionlessly at the old man in a yellow robe before asking Guan Shuqing. Guan Shuqing stuck her tongue out playfully and answered, "This man is our benefactor." Benefactor? Wang Xian was taken aback as he knitted his eyebrows. I didn't tell you about this when you called in the morning because I was afraid you would be worried about us. I'll tell you the details in a while, mumbled Guan Shuqing softly. Hey kid, you better choose your words wisely. The old man squinted his eyes and observed Wang Xian. He was displeased about Wang Xian's use of old fogey. He looked to Guan Shuqing and continued, Hey girl, is he your boyfriend? He has nothing that stands out. Any kid from my Sui family would be more outstanding than him. I'll get my kids over the next 2 days for you to take a look. Grandpa, I already have Xiao Xian. Please don't try to matchmake me with others or I will really be angry. Upon hearing the old man's comments, Guan Shuqing replied discontentedly. Girl, I'm doing all this for your own good. With your talents, you would not be at the same level as him in the future. You guys belong to separate worlds, the old man reminded Guan Shuqing immediately. All right, old fogey. If you are to call the members of your Sui family over, I'll let them remain in Rivertown forever. Wang Xian heard the old men and remarked emotionlessly. If it wasn't for Guan Shuqing saying that he was their benefactor, Wang Xian would likely have turned this old fogey into a dead fogey. TSK. The old man was taken aback by Wang Xian's remarks. His smile disappeared slowly as he stared at Wang Xian. A scorching hot and terrifying aura that resembled a furnace gathered above Wang Xian and shrouded him. With a single thought, the old man could let it fall. An ordinary person would melt under such an aura. Even so, Wang Xian still felt as though there was a sun above him and the pressure was incomparably scary. He frowned slightly and stared coldly at the old man. A stream of dragon power pierced through the furnace above his head and towards the old man. It seems like this old man is seeking his death. Mo Qinglong, Mo Yuan, Sun Lingxiu and Miracle Dr. Bloodman surrounded the old man and locked down on him with their aura. What? The old man was shocked and looked at Wang Xian in disbelief. Following which, he glanced at Mo Qinglong, Sun Lingxiu and the rest. His expression was constantly changing. The aura emitted by the young man in front of him had smashed through his field easily. This greatly impressed him. Field. This was his field. And the aura from this young man. This. Besides Wang Xian, 4 people were surrounding him. Not a single one of them was weak either. This is just a small river town. How can this be? The old man was thinking constantly as his expression changed. After tens of seconds, his mouth twitched a little and a smile appeared on his face once again. Haha, I never expected a small river town to be hiding so many experts. I'm Sui Huang. Sorry for the intrusion, it's fate that brought us together. As the old man spoke with smiles and in a light-hearted tone, the aura around him changed. It was as though the intense atmosphere from before had not existed at all. Wang Xian looked emotionlessly at the old man and retracted his aura. Haha, girl. You are indeed someone I have high regard for. Even your boyfriend is so incredible. I can tell that you two are truly in love with each other and will definitely live together for an entire lifetime. The old man laughed and maintained a sincere smile. However, I really think highly of your talents. I, Sui Huang, sincerely hope to take you in as my disciple. Guan Shuqing was taken aback but was more shocked by how fast the old man's attitude had changed. Wang Xian took a further glance at the old man before saying to Guan Shuqing, "Let's go. Back to the room." The old man stood in the middle of the backyard. Seeing them walking into the villa, his mouth twitched a little. Damn it. How can a small river town have someone so horrifying? Moreover, he's still so young. Did I live my 100 years in vain? The old man's eyebrows twitched constantly. I had thought of getting this girl to marry into the Sui family. Blood ties and family relationships are always better to tie her down. Now, I can only go for the best alternative. I must definitely take her in as my disciple. The old man revealed a determined look. The next moment, he smiled and followed the group into the villa. What kinds of danger did you guys encounter yesterday? Wang Xian asked Xiao Yu, Guan Shuqing, and Elder Fang caringly. A few half-step to inborn realm experts ambushed us. Sect leader Tang conjectured that they might be from the Flame Palace, answered Elder Fang. They practiced fire attribute art of cultivation and are likely to be experts at the half-step to inborn realm. At this moment, the voice of the old man sounded once again. He looked to Wang Xian and continued with a smile, "Oh brother, you might not know about this. The situation was really perilous. 4 to 5 half-step to inborn experts cornered them. That sect leader of a small sect couldn't even deal with 1 half-step to inborn expert. Just as they were all about to be killed, I happened to be nearby. I stepped in immediately and saved them. If it wasn't for me, this matter would have been more dangerous." Elder Fang nodded his head speechlessly. The incident was just as the old man had described. Flame Palace? Wang Xian frowned slightly and looked to the old man to thank him. "Thank you for extending your help to save them. Ayo, you don't have to. If you would like to express your gratitude, let your girlfriend, in other words, that girl, be my disciple. Brother, please don't take this the wrong way. I'm talking about simply taking her as a disciple. My kids could never match up to you. Let me take the girl as my disciple and I'll guide her diligently and groom her to be an expert." This old man was trying to get something by harping on his previous assistants. Chapter 267, Death of Dragonians, 1. Guan Shuqing, Xiao Yu, and the rest of them looked at the old man speechlessly. The old man came with domineering strength, he was prideful and acted like a child. When he came to their rescue, he marked Guan Shuqing, saying he would find a boyfriend for her so that she could marry into the Sui family. Yet, he wanted to take her as a disciple now. His frequent inconsistency was a mismatch with his image as an expert. Hence, they were speechless about it. Yet, he was rather cute. After all, this old man was their benefactor. Wang Xian also looked at the old man with nothing to say. The old man had no dignity and temper like an expert. Instead, he seemed more like a rogue by trying to gain returns from the debt of gratitude. But Wang Xian could not comment on anything. "I don't think she needs your guidance," Wang Xian said without any excitement in his voice, as he did not have a good first impression of this old fellow. "Why not? I have decades of teaching experience. Several of my disciples are now experts in some regions. I have vast teaching experience, and you can't compare me to any average person. I have all the resources and treasures for cultivation." "Oh right," the old man said as he fished out something from his pocket with smiles. "Lass, look, what's this?" "Look. This is the elixir that I refined, Muscle Flex Elixir. After taking a pill, your skin will be as smooth as a baby. Back in those years, the pretty girls in all of Shangjing were crazy about my Muscle Flex elixirs. They are priceless. Come, try it." As the old man spoke, he took out more pills and handed one each to Elder Fang, Xiao Yu, and Sun Lingxiu. Sun Lingxiu held it in her hand as the bright energy flashed across. With smiles on her face, she said, "Thank you. You're welcome. My forte is refining elixirs. Refining elixirs is putting various spiritual grasses together to refine more effective elixirs. Lass, if you accept me as your teacher, you can refine muscle flex elixirs and beauty elixirs," the old man boasted to Guan Shuqing. "Really?" Guan Shuqing's eyes glimmered as she was tempted. Every girl pursues a youthful appearance. "Of course. Why would I cheat a bunch of lasses? Become my disciple, and you can have as many elixirs as you want in the future. You could even maintain your current beauty even at the age of 50 to 60 years old." The old man continued to encourage her with eagerness. He did not hesitate to reveal what he was capable of, just like how he wanted Guan Shuqing to be married into the Sui family. Wang Xian smiled at the side. He had also discovered the uniqueness of Guan Shuqing's physique in recent days. He was speculating whether this had anything to do with mating with his dragon body. "Shuqing, you can decide on your own." Wang Xian did not make any decision for her since the old man, Sui Huang, had formidable strength. Judging from his look, he seemed genuine in offering to take Guan Shuqing as his disciple. Guan Shuqing hesitated. "Lass, what are you waiting for? An invincible and caring teacher is right before you." The old man stared at Guan Shuqing and spoke anxiously. I don't want to leave Rivertown." "You don't have to leave Rivertown. This is a trivial matter. I'm used to roaming around. I can settle down in Rivertown from now on. But I still have to go to school. It's okay. Given your talent, it will be sufficient if you cultivate after school every day." Guan Shuqing continued to hesitate as she could not make up her mind. "Lass, this is the gift from your master. You'll accompany me to Shangjing a few days from now for a formal ceremony of disciple acceptance. Don't worry. It will take at most 2 days." Upon seeing the hesitating Guan Shuqing, the old man took out a bangle from his pocket. The bangle was fiery red in color with a phoenix on it. This is the Flaming Phoenix bangle and is activated by fire attributions. It can form a fire ring during attacks. If you struck unexpectedly, an inborn expert would be bound to be seriously injured. "Disciple, wear this on your hand." The old man self-proclaimed himself as the master when he handed the gift over. Guan Shuqing took it without realizing it. "Haha, lass. Now you have to address me as your master," the old man shouted with excitement. Wang Xian smiled with no comments. He looked at Xiao Ran. "Come over here. As my unofficial disciple, I'll also gift you a thing." "Yes, master." Xiao Ran nodded and walked over immediately. Wang Xian flicked his finger, and a sapphire flame emerged from his hand. He encompassed it with dragon energy and injected it into Xiao Ran's body. "This is..." The old man stared with eyes agape. He watched the sapphire flame in Wang Xian's hand with disbelief. "Heavenly flame. It's the heavenly flame." The heavenly flame entered Xiao Ran's elixir field. Wang Xian moved his palm slightly, and the dragon ball emerged as it slowly suspended itself above Xiao Ran. We will be using spiritual inferno to refine your body. You'll circulate your internal energy to integrate with the blue flame. Use the blue flame to replace other fire elements. Hence, it will be painful for you, so bite through it, said Wang Xian to Xiao Ran impassively. Xiao Ran nodded his head with force. Master, I'm not afraid of pain. Good. Sit on the floor with your legs crossed, said Wang Xian. The dragon ball grew to be basketball size slowly as it suspended above Xiao Ran's head. Steams of fire energy flowed into his body to remove its impurities. This is body-refining spiritual flame ball. The old man opened his eyes wide with shock on his face. His expression changed drastically. Such a badass. The old man looked at Wang Xian and blurted out the words uncontrollably. Everyone around him was speechless when they heard it coming from an expert. Disciple, this sapphire flame is not suitable for refining elixirs. I'll get you heavenly flame that is suitable for it. We also have such a body-refining spiritual flame ball too. The old man peered at this other person's disciple and assured Guan Shuqing. Using spiritual inferno to refine the body is way too painful. I have a way. You don't even have to look for heavenly flame because I have my own plans next time. As the girlfriend of Guan Shuqing, he would make her turn into a dragon in the future. Once she became a dragon, the heavenly flame would not be of much use to her. This was the reason why he did not pass Guan Shuqing the heavenly flame. The old man twitched his mouth as he glared at Wang Xian with dissatisfaction. He muttered, "She's my disciple. Master, he's my boyfriend." Guan Shuqing whispered softly beside the old man. The old man's face turned black and he made no further remark as he was indignant. The thing is, the entire Shangjing would get excited if Sui Huang declared he was going to accept a disciple. But now, not only did he have to coax his disciple, he also had to consider her boyfriend's opinion. Damn, if it were not for her boyfriend being such a badass, would he be humiliated? Xiao Xian, is he the disciple you just accepted? Asked Guan Shuqing with her curiosity piqued. She came over to Wang Xian and observed Xiao Ran whose cheeks were flushed with redness as he endured the tremendous pain. He's not bad. Wang Xian nodded with a smile as he explained briefly to them. On the other hand, Mo Yuan's expression changed as soon as he answered a call. Chapter 268, Death of Dragonians, 2. The villa got livelier with more people in it and Xiao Ran was still undergoing the baptism by the Dragon Ball. He would at least be a level 6 martial artist after being baptized by the energy of the Dragon Ball combined with the heavenly flame, tranquil blue flame. For a teenager of 15 years old to be a level 6 martial artist, the talent could easily be considered demon-like. Even the saints and saintess from the sacred sect or sacred clans might not have such capability at this age. Sui Huang dragged Guan Shuqing aside to explain to her about cultivation and refining elixir pills. Mo Yuan respectfully walked to Mo Qinglong and reported an incident. We couldn't get in contact with them. They might have encountered a mishap. Mo Qinglong frowned upon hearing Mo Yuan. He looked at Wang Xian who was talking to Xiao Yu before replying, investigate this matter thoroughly. If they encountered mishaps, find the culprit. A tint of brutality flickered across Mo Qinglong's eyes as he spoke. At noon, the whole group had lunch together. Sui Huang unabashedly sat down together with them. He even requested that Wang Xian provide him with a room in the villa so he could stay for a long while. Naturally, he was mercilessly rejected by Wang Xian. Instead, Wang Xian allowed him to stay with Mo Qinglong and the rest in the neighboring villa. There's no way he would let an old guy live in his villa and disrupt their lives. In the afternoon, the group went to the top of the villa to take a break. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan walked to Wang Xian and reported solemnly, "Young master, something bad has happened to 2 of our Dragonians." Huh? Wang Xian, who was lying under the umbrella and looking at Guan Shuqing and Xiao Yu on the yacht a short distance away, was taken aback and sat up. What happened? His eyebrows knitted a little as he looked at the duo and asked. Young master, although the Dragonians split off to roam the underworld, we have been maintaining communication. The norm would be to communicate once every 3 days, said Mo Yuan. He looked at Wang Xian before continuing. Yesterday, we weren't able to contact 2 brothers of ours. The Dragonians who are in charge investigated the matter and confirmed that they were met with an accident. 2 Dragonians were met with an accident. Wang Xian was a little gloomy, and solemnness gleamed in his eyes. The 50 Dragonians were his most loyal subordinates. They had stayed with him since his rise. And now, 2 of them had died. Although asking them to roam the underworld was risky to a certain extent in the first place, Wang Xian was still furious to learn about their deaths. Who killed them? Asked Wang Xian glumly. We don't know. We have not found out who the culprit was, but what we know is that they died during a mission. Mo Yuan shook his head and continued, we have found the mission. It was a protection mission and the rewards were great. Mo Qinglong handed Wang Xian a mobile phone. Wang Xian took the phone and looked at the mission. It looked just like any ordinary protection mission. The protection period was just 2 months, but the reward was $200 million. The reward was really handsome, but the requirement for the strength of bodyguards was really high too. It requested level 9 or stronger martial artists, and there would be no reward if the mission failed. A protection mission where a level 9 martial artist would die in mission? Furthermore, with the capabilities of the Dragonians, they wouldn't have to fear half-step to inborn realm expert. Wang Xian frowned as he read through the details of the mission. Considering the strength of Mo Urson and Mo Sanyi, there's no way they could have been killed unless there were 5 to 6 half-step to inborn realm experts attacking them together, or an inborn expert involved, Mo Qinglong continued. According to the information we have gathered, there are 2 more level 9 experts who accepted the mission. All of them died. My guess is that an inborn expert is involved. Do we have nothing on the enemy? Asked Wang Xian with a frown. We do not know yet. Perhaps the issuer of the mission and the one being protected might know something. We are currently investigating, replied Mo Qinglong. Investigate it thoroughly. We must definitely find the culprit and take revenge for our brothers, Wang Xian ordered. He didn't care who the enemy was or why they killed the 2 Dragonians. This feud must be avenged. Yes, young master. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan nodded their heads and left immediately to investigate the matter. Wang Xian looked at the mission on the mobile phone again. The issuer of the mission wasn't hiding at all. His name was Tang Zhouchao, the richest man of Gui province with assets of approximately $70 billion. He was a hugely successful businessman. However, this mission wasn't protecting himself but his daughter. Wang Xian sank into deep thought while reading about the mission. He noticed that Tang Zhouchao had issued a new mission yesterday. He was hiring half-step to inborn experts and the rewards were $500 million. $500 million in rewards for 2 months was an exceptionally attractive mission. Wang Xian had never had $500 million. This amount might even tempt some inborn experts. Master. At this moment, Xiao Ran and his sister came and respectfully greeted Wang Xian. It's done. Wang Xian observed Xiao Ran's body attentively from head to toe as he revealed a satisfied look. Level 6 martial artist. After undergoing the refining by the Dragon Ball, he now had the strength of a level 6 martial artist. Although his body was still lean, his complexion had changed substantially. His pupils had a tint of blue and his body had a drifting disposition. Wang Xian smiled faintly and said, "Have something nutritious for the next few days." "Oh yes," exclaimed Wang Xian as he looked at Sui Huang who was beside him. "Old man, aren't you well versed in refining elixir pills? Take care of my disciple and refine some elixir pills for him. Feel free to use the spiritual grasses and medicine in the small garden. Make some for Shuqing too. Don't attempt to keep some for yourself." Sui Huang, who happened to be in the small garden observing the various spiritual grasses and medicines, was taken aback. The edge of his mouth twitched a little subconsciously. "These spiritual medicines aren't to my liking," replied Sui Huang. The moment Sui Huang completed his previous sentence, he asked, "Brother, I'd like to ask you something. The attributes of these spiritual medicines are totally different. How did you manage to plant them together while ensuring they survive?" Sui Huang was an alchemist and he knew a lot about spiritual medicines. The Sui family also had a garden with spiritual medicines and grasses. There were even level 6 spiritual medicines in his garden. However, The breeding of spiritual medicine was extremely troublesome with extremely stringent requirements for the environment. However, spiritual medicine with fire attributes could be planted with spiritual medicine with water attributes in this place. That was darned amazing to him. I don't know. They just survived after I planted them there, answered Wang Xian emotionlessly before lying back on the chair. Spiritual medicine indeed had stringent requirements for its environment. However, Wang Xian just needed to inject them with azure dragon energy regularly for them to survive. Moreover, their growth would also be quicker with the nourishment of the azure dragon energy. If you have nothing to do, just rest or cultivate. As for the matter regarding cultivation, follow your master's girl. Also, listen to the teachings of this capable old man. He's someone with decades of experience, Wang Xian said to Xiao Ran. Xiao Ran looked at his own master and the old man at the side before replying, "Yes, master." Damn it. Sui Huang's face turned gloomy. You didn't answer my question when I asked you about breeding spiritual medicines. Yet, you are pushing your responsibilities of teaching your disciple to me. Chapter 269, Vengeance. Wang Xian did not know how to teach at all. He did not have the capability, and he had a different cultivation system. Hence, he could not teach even if he wanted to. Since a formidable expert was here, Wang Xian simply got Xiao Ran to follow Guan Shuqing's lessons. He believed it would be better than teaching Xiao Ran himself. After a relaxing afternoon, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan rushed back in the evening. How did it go? Wang Xian asked as soon as he saw them enter. Young master, it's a little tricky. Mo Qinglong frowned slightly. According to the updates we've gotten, the richest man of Gui province, Tang Zhouchao's daughter seems to be a disciple from one of the sacred sects, Heavenly Sound Sect. They are now selecting their saint and saintess. As the saint and saintess, they have to experience the outside world and accumulate enough strength and experiences before they can become a saint and saintess. While Tang Zhouchao's daughter was roaming around, someone attempted to assassinate her. It may have been sent by her rivals from the same sect, or Tang Zhouchao's. After all, the more power his daughter gained, the lesser obstacles he had in his business. So many parties are involved in this. Wang Xian frowned as it would be more complicated if Sacred Sect was involved. Heavenly Sound Sect, unlike the newly promoted Flame Palace, had so many experts that even Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan had to be cautious. The assassins may not be from the Sacred Sect. They may be from some assassination organizations, Mo Qinglong added as he knit his eyebrows slightly. If we want to take our revenge, we need to obtain some news from the daughter of Tang Zhouchao. Otherwise, it will be difficult to know who our enemies are. Radiance flickered in Wang Xian's eyes. We must avenge them. Young master, there's a way now. Mo Yuan and I accepted Tang Zhouchao's mission. We'll get close to his daughter for more information, said Mo Qinglong. I'll go with you guys. Wang Xian hesitated slightly before he made the decision. Get the rest of the Dragonians to be careful. No more accidents. Yes, young master. I'll accept the mission tonight. Tomorrow, we'll rush to Gui province. Mo Qinglong nodded. Great. Wang Xian nodded too. We'll set off tomorrow. Yes. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan left while Wang Xian had his thoughts. At night, Wang Xian gave a heads-up to Xiao Yu and Guan Shuqing that he would be busy for the next few days. He left Xiao Ran in Sui Huang's hands. Hence, Sui Huang was indignant. Damn you for taking me as your babysitter. But the thought of having a formidable talent as his disciple stopped him from complaining after his mumblings. The next morning, Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong, and Mo Yuan took a flight to Gui province. Sun Lingxiu, along with Miracle Dr. Bloodman, had officially started their business in Divine Dragon Medical Hall. Gui province was about 1,000 kilometers away from Rivertown. It was a rather far and less economically developed province. There were more mountain ranges within the Gui province. It was important to have mountains in terms of geographical location. Tang Zhouchao was the richest man in Gui province. The provincial capital of Gui province was a not-so-bustling second-tier city, Wu Mountain City. Even though the city was not bustling, it was beautiful for a provincial capital. Young master, according to the mission's instruction, We need to go to Tang Jiuchao's villa for a test, said Mo Qinglong to Wang Xian. Do we still have to get tested? Wang Xian was unsure as this was his first time accepting a mission. Yes, young master. They wanted to test if we're capable of the mission. After the test, there's another round of selection too. Mo Qinglong nodded. A total $500 million commission for 4 selected candidates each. That's a total of $2 billion. Such a huge sum of money could tempt some of the first-class forces. Perhaps, some of the inborn experts will be here too. $500 million commission was not a small amount to level 9 or inborn experts. Hence, it was worth it for some of the disciples from powerful forces to take up this assignment. Wang Xian nodded, and the trio took a cab to the Wu Mountains Villa district within the city. Wu Mountains City was named after the mountains. Dozens of huge mountain ranges were surrounded by luxurious villa zones. Tang Jiuchao lived in one of the biggest villa zones in the region, surrounded by lush trees and beautiful scenery. The villa occupied half of the mountain top, and it could be considered a manor house. The trio arrived at the villa entrance and identified themselves. 7 to 8 bodyguards dressed in black were inspecting everyone at the entrance. Their waists seemed to be bulging with things. Guns were still a threat to average martial artists. Even inborn experts could not block out intensive artillery bombardment. Only those that were known as the immortals of the land, Dan realm experts, could ignore those weapons. But if it were a nuclear bomb, even Dan realm experts would be blasted to death. Wang Xian had no idea if there were any other special weapons to attack individual experts. The security guards grew in numbers as they entered the villa. It was a huge villa that was 7 to 8 times larger than the one Wang Xian had near the sea. Only the richest man in the province could own this. Wang Xian sized the place up with a tint of shock on his face. This portrayed a true blue rich man. Please come with me. The bodyguard in black led the way in front and came to the front of the villa. There was a huge pool and an open space in front of it. At this time, there were 20 to 30 people at the open space. Please wait over here. There are more people to come, the bodyguard in black told them before he left. All of them are half-step to inborn experts. Mo Qinglong swept his gaze around and spoke in a deep voice. Even half-step to inborn experts could not be free of this money temptation. Wang Xian smiled and waited quietly at one corner. A lot of people came. Just then, another 4 men entered. As soon as they looked at the people around them, they had a taunting smile on their faces. Don't waste your time over here. We are clinching the mission. You guys can go back. Out of the 4, one of the middle-aged men swept his gaze around and spoke with a beaming face. Each one of them was holding a blade in his hands, dressed like a minority race as they exuded harsh and furious auras. Ha! The cocky voice drew the immediate annoyance of many people around. Everyone was a half-step to inborn expert. What was there to be afraid of? The 4 heavenly blades. An old man spun his head around with impatience. But when he saw the 4 of them, he was slightly stunned, with trepidation in his eyes. What? The 4 heavenly blades. They're the 4 heavenly blades. Never did I expect their arrival. Aren't they from the far Beifeng province? The 4 heavenly blades, what a familiar name. All of them looked at the incoming 4 people with solemn expressions. Chapter 270, Who else? The 4 heavenly blades are 4 well-known half-step to inborn experts from Beifeng province. They once killed an inborn expert together. What? They are that strong? The 4 of them can kill an inborn expert? Under normal circumstances, it would be hard for 10 half-step to inborn experts to kill even a single inborn expert. What horrifying strength! Those half-step to inborn experts in the crowd pulled a long face. In the underworld, there was a common saying. Your existence was similar to an ant until you entered the realm of the inborn. Although half-step to inborn experts were strong, they were nothing compared to inborn experts. However, these 4 men had once killed an inborn expert. This was incomparably terrifying. When these 4 men use their heavenly blade techniques together, the strength is incredible. They are widely known and even first-class forces wouldn't trifle with them recklessly, the crowd whispered. Their expressions changed when they saw them carrying a curved blade each and walking towards them. "There are quite a number of experts here," remarked Wang Xian with a smile. "Any one of these people could be considered an expert in today's world. Aren't you guys leaving yet? In that case, you guys better be careful when facing us in a while." The four heavenly blades looked across the crowd and remarked coldly. At that moment, everyone felt that the pressure on them had increased. They frowned and looked bitterly at the four men. The sudden appearance of these four experts had lowered their chances of getting this mission substantially. "Is everyone here?" A clearly fatigued voice sounded. At this moment, 3 people walked out from the villa. One of them was a middle-aged man. He was approximately 50 years old and slightly plump. An old man and a gorgeous lady followed closely behind him. The old man had scars all over his face and looked intimidating. As for that beautiful lady, she wore a long white dress and was carrying a green zither behind her. Her long hair was tied up in the same manner as those heroines in dramas about the past. Her temperament resembled that of an immortal. She seemed out of the world and was very attractive. This kind of beauty was rare in modern times. Hey! Wang Xian looked at the beautiful lady and found her to be familiar. Tang Yinxian. When he was in the hostel, Wang Dahai often talked about her. In fact, this rascal even went to another city just to have a look at her. Tang Yinxian was a singer and a musician who specialized in zither. She had quickly become known by many since last year. Although her fame had not spread nationwide, many had a strong impression of her. Tang Yinxian had never taken up endorsements or attended any variety shows. She gained popularity after working with a piano master. Subsequently, she released an album and the songs on it became widely popular. Her popularity was on par with second-tier celebrities and she had held several concerts. I heard from Wang Dahai that when he attended Tang Yinxian's concert, he was so moved that he teared up after hearing her voice and her playing of the zither. It was as though she could sing into his heart. If she could make Wang Dahai, who is nearly tone-deaf, cry after listening to her music, there are likely other factors on top of her zither skills. Heavenly Sound sect used musical instruments as their weapons. By playing and using the attributes of metal and water energy, they could influence their opponents and kill them. According to records, when disciples of Heavenly Sound sect played the war instruments on the battlefield, it had the incredible ability to lift the spirits of the soldiers, making them fearless and causing them to forget about fatigue. Wang Xian looked at the beautiful lady and thought to himself, "Mr. Tang, those who should be here are already here. Those who aren't here are unlikely to be coming." An old man said to Tang Jiuqiao, "That's right. Those who should be here are already here. I'd like to thank everyone for coming," Tang Jiuqiao said. He took a quick glance through the crowd in front of him. There were nearly 30 people and every one of them had a strong disposition. "Everyone, I believe you all know clearly that I have issued a mission in the underworld to look for 4 bodyguards for my daughter. The period shall be for 2 months. After 2 months, I will reward each of you with $500 million. Now, I need to select 4 people from you guys. The selection process will be simple. The strongest 4 will be chosen. Does anyone have any objections?" "No." The crowd of half-step to inborn experts nodded their heads. Some of them were gloomy after catching sight of the 4 heavenly blades. "Those who believe they are stronger, please step to your right. Anyone can challenge them, but please don't take anything personally," the scarred old man, who was beside Tang Jiuqiao, remarked at this moment. He looked across the crowd and started emitting an aura. "Inborn expert." The crowd was astonished. They looked at the old man in awe and nodded. "That's a given. In the underworld, the strong rule." "Haha, that's right. In the underworld, the strong rule." After a peal of loud laughter, 4 men walked towards the right. Waving their arms, they held the blades in their hands and their eyes gleamed with arrogance. "We are the 4 heavenly blades and we will be taking these 4 slots," the middle-aged man in the middle of the group announced. 4 heavenly blades. The crowd looked at the 4 men who walked out straightway and their expressions were gloomy. Some of their eyes were flickering. 4 heavenly blades. Tang Jiuqiao and the old man beside him looked over. They were surprised but gradually revealed smiles. The beautiful lady who was carrying the zither, looked at the 4 heavenly blades, and she nodded her head slightly in approval. Clearly, they had heard of the 4 heavenly blades. They were the pinnacle among half-step to inborn experts. This mission is mainly for protection and isn't for the 4 of you to fight together. What's more important is your individual strength. I'd like to challenge. An old man stepped forward and had his eyes fixed on the 4 heavenly blades. That's right. A protection mission wouldn't possibly allow the 4 of you to fight together. Hence, individual strength is the best gauge, a middle-aged man seconded. The 4 heavenly blades were strong together, but once they were separated, the rest weren't necessarily afraid of them. Haha, fine. Even if it is just one of us, you are no match for us. Old man, I'll fight you, one of the 4 heavenly blades said. A middle-aged man stepped forward and showed his curved blade. The next moment, he charged and attacked the old man. Ha! The old man roared. He stretched his arms and he had a pair of long metal gloves over them. Mountain-suppressing palm strike. The old man shifted his arm and met the attack from the middle-aged man with his palm. The battle between half-step to inborn experts was not only powerful but also highly destructive. If those around them weren't half-step to inborn experts, they would likely have backed off. Haha, succession heavenly blade. The middle-aged man was ecstatic. Holding the blade with 2 hands, his body turned like a spinning top. The slashes of the blade were incomparably fast and the attacks were relentless. Bam bam bam. In a span of just a second, the curved blade had collided with the palm of the old man over 100 times. What? The old man was flushed and shocked. His opponent's attacks were relentless, pushing him back constantly. Bam! Scram! The middle-aged man shouted loudly as he came down hard with his last strike. The old man was knocked back directly. Splash! The old man fell into the pond, sending up a huge splash of water. What fast swordsmanship! How swift and horrifying! The attacks were relentless. If the 4 of them combined forces, wouldn't they be just like a meat grinder? Such horrifying swordsmanship combined with agile movements. It's no surprise that they managed to kill an inborn expert. That's simply too strong. The half-step to inborn experts in the crowd looked at the 4 heavenly blades in awe. At that moment, the atmosphere seemed to have been frozen. No one dared to step forward. With the previous display of strength that seemed invincible amongst the half-step to inborn experts, no one seemed daring enough to launch a challenge. Haha, who else? The 4 heavenly blades looked at the crowd and lifted their heads proudly. The 4 released their aura at the same time and shrouded everyone in it. The combined pressure imposed by the 4 men was shockingly on par with an inborn expert. Once again, they had managed to impress the crowd as a gloomy atmosphere shrouded the crowd. Don't forget about the 3 of us. We will be taking 3 slots then. An emotionless voice broke the silence of the room. Chapter 271, Everyone here is trash. We'll be taking 3 slots then. An emotionless voice resounded through the open space. Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong, and Mo Yuan were striding to the right with beaming faces. Ha! The 3 of them. The voice cut the silence in the courtyard of the villa. All the half-step to inborn experts were slightly taken aback as they looked over doubtfully. 3 slots for you. The 4 heavenly blades turned to the trio with arrogance on their faces. They revealed a hint of sarcasm. You don't take the slots. You fight for them with your own strength. There's a lad among them. If you want 3 slots, you should get on your knees and beg us for it. The 4 of them mocked the trio, especially when they saw Wang Xian. How dare a lad ask them for a slot? Hee, beg you guys. You better scram. Mo Yuan cast his icy-cold gaze at the 4 heavenly blades. With a swift movement, he attacked them directly. He did not exhibit his imposing demeanor as an inborn expert. Nor did he fully display the strength of an inborn expert. Seeking your own death. Upon seeing Mo Yuan's assault, one of the middle-aged men of the heavenly blade's eyes were cold. He picked up his machete, slashing away. Mo Yuan had no expression. He reached out his hand slowly with his palms opened with glimmering dragon scales. Woohoo! With creepy body movements and serial wielding of blades, the middle-aged man of heavenly blade struck ferociously again. An ear-rending sound was heard. The surrounding spectators wore grave expressions as they witnessed the middle-aged heavenly blade man's assault. One after another swift and non-stop slashes. No one could react in time. That middle-aged man is blocking with his palms. What? Isn't that a suicide move? His palm could be hacked in a single move. The people were astonished by Mo Yuan as he received the blades with his bare palm. Receiving the heavenly blade with a bare palm? That was as good as suicide. Bam, bam, bam. However, what amazed everyone was the sound of a metal collision that kept coming through. Mo Yuan's palms continued to slam against the machete, and his speed was even faster than it. But a weapon was, after all, a weapon. The 4 heavenly blades had not reached the stage where they could wield their weapons just like parts of their bodies. Wielding weapons was greatly different from using the limbs. Bam, bam, bam. At this time, Mo Yuan was so fast that the machete could not keep up with it. He struck his palms on the body of middle-aged heavenly blade man. The forceful impact caused him to spit out mouthfuls of blood. Puke. He had a drastic change in his expression as he staggered back with eyes full of fear. 3 of you can strike together. Mo Yuan was expressionless. He did not feel anything about defeating the middle-aged heavenly blade man. After all, he was an inborn expert, and he was concealing his cultivation level. Hence, there was nothing to brag about. Seeking your own death. The remaining 3 middle-aged heavenly blades saw Mo Yuan charging at him, and they were infuriated at once. None of them hesitated. They picked up the machetes uniformly and slashed at Mo Yuan. Let's stay harmonious. An old inborn expert standing beside Tang Jiuqiao reminded them when he saw 3 of them striking together. He's too cocky. How dare he challenge the other 3 heavenly blade? That middle-aged man has a formidable physical body that can actually block the offense of the heavenly blades. The combined force of the 3 of them was on a totally different level as compared to a solo attack. Gosh, look. The frequency of their strikes matches each other perfectly. That is to say, each one of them will attack 3 to 4 times at the middle-aged man in a second. Even inborn experts have to handle such intensive blade moves carefully. Scary. This is the 4 heavenly blades' forte. Seamless serial attacks. No wonder they could kill an inborn expert. Mo Yuan remained unwavering. He jerked his arm, darting out towards one of them. Slash, slash, slash. I don't believe you can defend against our full blow. Upon seeing Mo Yuan focusing his attack on one person, the 3 middle-aged heavenly blades switched their techniques, bringing their machetes from the top with tremendous force. Like a crescent moon, their machetes were smeared with cold radiance. So what if I did? Mo Yuan's expression remained unmoved as he quickly raised his arm to block the machetes. Bam, bam, bam. 3 machetes slashed Mo Yuan's arm, and the imposing force field caused rings of ripples in the pool next to them. What? How is this possible? Everyone around them drew a cold breath as soon as they witnessed it. Even the 3 heavenly blades were stunned, with a hint of horror in their pupils. That physique is formidable. It's absolutely invincible. That's just scary. With such a physical body, I don't think he would get hurt from bombings either. Mo Yuan looked at the 3 middle-aged men impassively. He swung both his arms and assaulted 2 of them. Bam! The 2 of them were unable to react in time. Both got a hit in their chests. They staggered about a dozen steps back with trembling bodies. Do you want to continue? Mo Yuan threw an emotionless gaze at the last middle-aged man and asked nonchalantly. Gulp. That middle-aged man swallowed his saliva with horror in his eyes. Slowly, he shook his head. I want all 3 slots. If anyone is unhappy about this, you'll have to defeat me first, said Mo Yuan without a doubt as he swept his overbearing gaze across everyone. Tang Jiuqiao, Tang Yinxian, and the old man beside them were looking doubtful, but they did not refute him. With such an expert around, it did not matter, even the other 2 were weaker. He was domineering and was almost on par with an inborn expert. Is there any half-step to inborn expert that is as strong as him? He must be practicing some unique cultivation techniques. Even without unblocking his conception vessel and governing vessel, his physical body is as good as an inborn expert. Everyone gulped. He was so strong that he could beat the 4 heavenly blades easily, even when 3 of them combined their power. He was really invincible among half-step to inborn experts. Invincible among half-step inborn experts. Invincible. He's invincible. Everyone was aghast at the prowess exhibited by Mo Yuan, and none of them had the desire to battle. Dominating. Not bad. You're impressive and almost invincible in the world. Suddenly, everyone heard a praising voice. But 3 is too much. You can take 1 at most. An old man spoke casually from a corner of a crowd. Beside him stood 2 middle-aged men. With his chin lifted up, the middle-aged man looked prideful. They looked at everyone. We also want 3 slots. They swept their gazes across Wang Xian and the rest and eventually halted, looking everyone. Honestly, everyone here is trash. As he spoke, the old man beside him was serene-looking. Chapter 272, It's you who are not worthy. Everyone here is trash. When this sentence was said, those who were around were stunned and outraged. Arrogance. You are indeed arrogant. Who do you think you are? Hey, pals, don't be too arrogant. You will regret it. We are trash. Who do you think you are? You are talking big without even showing your strength. How arrogant are you? The crowd looked at the 3 of them and criticized coldly. Hee hee. When the old man saw the crowd staring at him angrily, he gave a faint smile. Although what my disciple has said is a little crude, you guys are indeed trash in my eyes, said the old man as he turned his attention to Mo Yuan and eventually Tang Jiuqiao. Presumptuous. How presumptuous. Arrogant and conceited. Old man, since you are so arrogant, show us if you have the capital to back your word. The old man's words had once again enraged the crowd as the crowd stared harshly at the trio. Shut your mouth. The old man shouted and changed the aura around him suddenly. Boom. The terrifying aura of an inborn expert erupted and swept towards the crowd of half-step to inborn experts with reserves. What? Inborn expert. This. He is an inborn expert. Inborn expert. It's no surprise that he was so arrogant and disregarded everyone. I hadn't expected this mission to attract an inborn expert. The crowd was shaken. They looked at the old man in awe and exclaimed in fear. Once the inborn expert had stepped forward, he dominated the area. The old man looked at everyone proudly and asked, "Does anyone have any opinion if I take 3 slots?" His aura was domineering and weighing down on the crowd. Would anyone still like to object? The middle-aged man beside the old man smirked and said, "Since an inborn expert is here, I guess you guys should be on your way back now. We will be taking 3 spots. As for the last spot, you guys can fight it out." The arrogant voice sounded again, but the crowd lowered their heads bitterly and didn't say a word. Once the inborn expert had appeared, they had already lost the contest. I believe the last spot should go to this person. He's pretty strong and worthy to be with us for the mission, commented the other middle-aged man with a faint smile. Hee hee. Mo Yuan broke into laughter and turned to look at Wang Xian. Wang Xian replied with a nod. They had wanted to keep a low profile initially. However, there were always some who wouldn't let this happen. If that was the case. However, you guys aren't worthy to do the mission with us. Mo Yuan looked at the middle-aged man and replied. "Huh. Huh." Upon hearing Mo Yuan, the old man and the 2 middle-aged men were stunned and glowered at Mo Yuan. The crowd also turned and looked at Mo Yuan with disbelief. To speak to an inborn expert in such a manner, that's too cocky. "I guess you are courting death," the old man remarked calmly as he looked at Mo Yuan and stretched out his arms. Shifting his body, he charged towards Mo Yuan like a bolt of lightning. It's over. That middle-aged man has offended an inborn expert. He must be too eager to die to offend an inborn expert. "I guess you are the one courting death," Mo Yuan remarked coldly to the astonishment of the crowd. Mo Yuan moved too. His palm turned into a claw as he grabbed forward towards the old man's fist. "Die!" the old man shouted. His eyes were cold and his punch struck much more violently towards Mo Yuan. Bam! As the punch and the claw collided, the situation of Mo Yuan being sent flying back didn't happen. Mo Yuan stood firmly in place, staring emotionlessly at the old man. A black aura started circling his body. It was an aura from the strong, the aura of an expert. What? The old man was astonished, his pupils enlarged as he stared at Mo Yuan in disbelief. Just someone who has just reached the inborn realm, and yet you dare to be so arrogant. Mo Yuan didn't speak and the voice was from another person. All the crowd could see was a series of blurred images. A figure appeared beside the old man suddenly, following which, to the astonishment of the crowd, that figure raised his leg and kicked the old man. The old man was surprised. However, the kick was too fast and terrifying. Bam! The old man flew back like a kite with a broken string towards the far end of the area. Boom! The old man smashed into the pond heavily. Tilda. Everyone gasped and stared in disbelief at the events that unfolded. Their eyes popped wide open and they were speechless. What? The old man stood up in the pond. His body was still trembling as he stared at Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan. Inborn, two inborn experts. A coarse voice sounded from his throat as he walked out from the pond with a gloomy expression. Indeed. They are really inborn experts. Horrifying. This is too horrifying. Two inborn experts vying for this mission. I wouldn't have come if I knew earlier. The crowd was flabbergasted. Even Tang Jiuqiao and the other two were shocked. The scarred old man squinted his eyes and looked at Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan solemnly. A while ago, Mo Qinglong had sent an inborn expert flying with a single kick. This wasn't something any ordinary inborn expert could do. Mo Qinglong was probably stronger than the scarred old man. These three experts will do. These three experts shall share the $2 billion reward. Tang Jiuqiao was flabbergasted. Happiness gleamed in his eyes as he announced this quickly. $20 billion to hire two inborn experts as bodyguards was definitely a great deal. With them around, they could easily match dozens of half-step to inborn experts. Fine. Mo Qinglong nodded in agreement. Tang Yinxian, who was carrying the zither behind her, frowned slightly and started to observe the three of them. Everyone, we will be handing this mission to these three experts. Thank you for your time here. Tang Jiuqiao put his hands together and thanked the crowd. Let's go, let's go. A mission that attracted three inborn experts. Sigh. It seems like I have made a wasted trip. Let's go, there are two inborn experts. Even if they didn't make up the 4 slots, it wouldn't be unfair for them to split it evenly among themselves. The crowd didn't comment further. They shook their heads slowly and headed out. Some of them looked at the two dumbfounded middle-aged men with ridicule. They thought that their master was incredible. Yet, their master was easily defeated by others. Those who were arrogant wouldn't get a good ending. Let's go, the old man said to his 2 disciples bitterly after giving Mo Qinglong and the group a harsh stare. The 2 middle-aged men pulled long faces as they followed behind the old men and left. Ha ha. Please come in, experts. Seeing that the crowd had left, Tang Jiuqiao went forward and spoke enthusiastically to Wang Xian and the group. Chapter 273, Tang Yinxian. Let's sign the contract. Upon entering the magnificent and resplendent villa, Tang Jiuqiao told the trio with a beaming face. Sure. Wang Xian nodded. Mo Yuan examined the contents in the contract and signed after the confirmation. Seniors. Just then, a clear voice that was pleasing to the ears like birds was heard. Such a voice. No doubt she's from Heavenly Sound Sect. Wang Xian pondered to himself as he looked at Tang Yinxian, who had the zither on her back. You possess great and outstanding skills. No average inborn experts could ever be compared with you. Tang Yinxian looked at them indifferently. Her eyelashes were long, and they moved gently when she talked. It was as though her eyes spoke. Her voice was a pleasure to the ears, and no one looked as beautiful as her. She was a ravishing beauty. Sensing their doubts, Tang Yinxian continued to say, "Just now I saw your moves. Somehow, they seemed familiar. Besides, there is no need for you to take on this task given your strength." As she spoke, her eyes flickered with intelligent radiance. Ha! Tang Jiuqiao was stunned for a moment as he fixed his eyes on the trio. Hehe, a babe like you is indeed smart. No doubt you're one of the strong contestants for the Saintess of Heavenly Sound Sec. Mo Yuan looked at Tang Yinxian with smiles. They were not surprised when their identities were revealed. When they decided to expose their real prowess, they had already taken that into consideration. Tang Yinxian narrowed her eyes as a tint of surprise flashed in her eyes. Not many people knew about her identity as the disciple of Heavenly Sound Sect. Do you know who killed Ji and Mu? Ji and Mu were the fake names Mo Ersan and Mo Sanyi used. Ji and Mu. Tang Yinxian suddenly understood everything. Subsequently, she shook her head with bitterness. Honestly, I don't know who killed them. The selection of Heavenly Sound Sect's saint and saintess is rather cruel. During the 2 years, the one who proves herself to be the strongest or has the highest number of subordinates will become the saintess. During this period, our sect prohibits killings between disciples. But there are always people who cross the line. On top of that, the killer might be the rival of my dad's business. As she spoke, her eyes were filled with helplessness. I still have 2 months before the time is up. My cultivation has reached a bottleneck. Hence, I need to find a way to break through it within these next 2 months. Hence, we hired bodyguards with a handsome reward. I'm sorry about Ji and Mu too. When Tang Yinxian was talking, Mo Yuan and Mo Qinglong were staring at her. We don't blame you for their deaths. But we want the killer to die. Wang Xian said coldly. Regardless of the reason that caused the death of Mo Ersan and Mo Sanyi, the killer must pay for it with his life. From the way they did their job, they seemed to be from an assassin organization. But I can't say for sure. Tang Yinxian shook her head slowly. Since they failed the last time, they will definitely strike again. We just need to wait for the killer to appear. Mo Qinglong said with a calm face. Tang Yinxian thought for a moment. I'm not sure now. After all, I have the protection of 2 inborn experts now, and word has already gotten out. The trio knit their eyebrows. Then we'll wait. Since we took up this mission, we'll protect you for the next 2 months, said Wang Xian after weighing his options. If the killer did not show up after the long wait, he could leave first and let Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan complete the task. Okay, thank you. I'm afraid you guys will be busy with me in the upcoming period. Tang Yinxian put on a smile. It's okay. We'll ensure your safety. You can rest assured. Mo Qinglong promised her. Thank you. Tang Yinxian nodded. Haha, we prepared lunch for you guys. Since you've traveled a long way here, we should grab a bite. Tang Jiuqiao stood up and invited the trio with a smile. The 3 of them nodded and came to a ballroom in the villa. After lunch, a maid walked over and handed them a schedule. It was the upcoming itinerary for Tang Yinxian. She has 4 concerts in the next 2 months. Looks like it will pose troubles to our protection mission. Wang Xian looked at Tang Yinxuan's schedule and shook his head. 4 concerts in 4 different cities. This could make things difficult for them in between. Looks like she is trying to make a breakthrough in her cultivation through the concerts, said Mo Qinglong after some pondering. Heavenly Sound Sect integrated their cultivation with the musical instruments, which was a tedious way of cultivating. Not only did one need to have the strength, but one also needed to master the musical instrument at a certain level. Drawing their own spiritual strength as the media, they could attack with instruments as their weapons. If the cultivation level was not high, it was still manageable. But when one's cultivation level got higher, one could pursue interfering with the mind of anyone through music. A powerful inborn expert from the Heavenly Sound Sect could challenge 2 people of the same level at the same time. This was also the domineering part of Heavenly Sound Sect. We're setting off tomorrow. Let's follow her around in the meantime, and it'd be better if the killers came for her. Wang Xian stood up and headed to the guest room, arranged by Tang Jiuqiao. When he was at the door, he heard a faint zither, playing from upstairs. The sound was pleasing, and the notes struck his heart. Somehow, he was in a daze. What great music! Wang Xian was slightly shocked as he looked up and narrowed his eyes. The wall in front of him slowly disappeared. Tang Yinxian was playing the zither in the music room before his eyes. He saw a myriad of musical instruments hanging in the music room. Wang Xian withdrew his gaze and returned to his room. The next afternoon, Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan took a flight with Tang Yinxian to Lian City. Lian City was a second-tier city with a higher population. It took them 2 hours by plane to reach it, and it was a few hundred kilometers away from Rivertown. Like other celebrities, Tang Yinxian wore a pair of sunglasses and a cap. Given her capability, it was hard for foreigners to recognize her. "Oh Yinxian, you're finally here." After walking out of the airport, a young man who was gorgeously dressed scurried fervently over. "Let's go, Yinxian. We need to make a trip to the concert hall and have dinner with the sponsor tonight." The young man spoke in a high-pitched voice as he looked at Wang Xian and the rest. "Are these 3 the bodyguards? Take the back seats, okay? Yinxian, we need to hurry. Our time is tight," the young man said anxiously. "Ching, don't be in such a hurry," Tang Yinxian said without any emotions. "Turn down the dinner with the organizers." "No way, Missy. You're now in their turf. They specifically asked you to have dinner with them. If you don't go, they might play some tricks just to ruin your concert," Ching said hurriedly. Tang Yinxian frowned before she said, "All right then." Chapter 274. No idea of death or danger. 1. The stage for the concert was in the Lian City Center Stadium. It was a stadium that could accommodate 80,000 people. Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan followed behind Tang Yinxian. This made Wang Xian feel a little speechless, as he was just following behind a girl instead of finding the culprit that had murdered the 2 Dragonians. However, that's all he could do at this moment. The young man, who was a little feminine in his actions, was instructing and telling Tang Yinxian about some matters. It was clear that this young man was most likely the manager of Tang Yinxian. "Yinxian, the representatives of the organizers will, at most, request that you play a few songs on the zither and ask you for photos during dinner. At that time, please don't reject them. The dinner will last an hour at the most. After dinner, you can return and have a good rest." The young man repeatedly reminded Tang Yinxian. Apparently, he knew about the indifferent attitude of this girl. "Rest assured. As long as they don't go overboard, everything will be fine," answered Tang Yinxian plainly. They wouldn't. "I'll be with you and will keep an eye on them," replied the young man in a hurry. It was already past 7 at night when they walked out of the stadium. The group boarded the car and headed towards a 5-star hotel in Lian City. Qingmu International Hotel was the best hotel in Lian City and was situated in the city center. The owner also had widespread influence. When they reached the entrance of the suite of the hotel, 4 young men in suits stood beside the door emotionlessly. "Do you all want to look for another place in the hotel to eat? I'll give you a call later." Tang Yinxian turned around and said to Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan. Tang Yinxian knew that there were 2 inborn experts among them. Even though they were her bodyguards now, she didn't dare to be rude, and she asked politely, "All right. We will be waiting at the entrance for you after we have our dinner." Mo Qinglong nodded his head. Moving his palm, a ball of black aura fell onto Tang Yinxian. "Don't worry. The moment you trigger your spiritual strength, we will be able to sense it." Mo Qinglong smiled and explained to Tang Yinxian, who looked a little confused about what had happened. I'll be troubling you guys then." Tang Yinxian nodded her head. The group of young men at the entrance looked at Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan, feeling puzzled. Tang Yinxuan's attitude towards them was a little strange in their eyes. Isn't she a little too nice to her 3 bodyguards? Tang Yinxian entered the suite with a young man. Wang Xian took a glance inside and noticed there were 4 to 5 young men with 2 middle-aged men inside the suite. There were ancient martial artists among them, but they weren't very strong nor were they a match for Tang Yinxian. "Let's go." Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan headed towards the public restaurant in the hotel. "Don't you guys have eyes?" Just as the 3 of them made a turn, they crashed into a group of a dozen people. A young man from the group didn't manage to dodge in time and knocked into Mo Qinglong. As a result, he was knocked back and staggered several steps before recovering. "Huh!" Mo Qinglong turned around impatiently and stared harshly at the young man. "What the hell are you staring at me for? Shut up." Bam! When the young man saw Mo Qinglong staring harshly at him, he berated him immediately. However, before he could even complete his words, the voice of a middle-aged man interrupted him. Not only did the middle-aged man shout at him, but he also gave the young man a tight slap on the head. Instantly, the young man was knocked into a light trance, and he felt the world around him spinning. Master, the young man was initially furious, but such emotions were quickly overwhelmed by fear. Miracle Dr. Wang, we are really, really sorry about this. This rascal failed to recognize you. If he has offended you, please forgive him. We are sorry, we are sorry. Sirs, we are sorry. Please accept my apologies on behalf of Qing Mu sect. We have failed to teach him well. We are sorry. Please forgive us. At this moment, the young man found that his master had completely ignored him. Instead, he was apologizing incessantly to the three men in front of him. The fear written over his master's face greatly shocked him. This was their territory. Yet, his master and an elder beside him looked so petrified. Who are they? Be careful next time. Mo Yuan remarked emotionlessly at the group of Qing Mu sect disciples before leaving directly. Yes, yes. We will definitely be careful. We will definitely be careful. The group nodded their heads profusely, lowered their bodies and were being as respectful as they could. Wang Xian and the group weren't paying any attention at all as they left without taking a further look at them. Why would we encounter them here? Seeing that Wang Xian and the group had left, the few middle-aged men in the group of disciples from Qing Mu sect wiped the sweat off their foreheads. Their eyes were still filled with horror. Master! Master, they are. Who are they? That young man that knocked into Mo Qinglong previously was baffled as he asked cautiously. Who? Rascal. You better not be that arrogant in the future. When the middle-aged man looked at the young man, he chided furiously. They aren't people we can afford to offend. Keep a low profile from now onwards. Don't be so arrogant. Otherwise, you won't even know when you will be slapped to death by an expert. The middle-aged men chided coldly and stared solemnly at the young man in the black shirt. I never expected them to be in Lian City. Relay this information. All disciples of Qing Mu sect must not offend them. Otherwise, I'll debilitate their cultivation and expel them from the Qing Mu sect, the middle-aged man in a black shirt instructed seriously. Not long ago, they had to apologize in fear to such a horrifying existence even when they were with their sect leaders. At this moment, their sect leaders weren't around. They had to be even more careful and cautious of them. If any disciples had no idea of death and danger and offended them, Qing Mu sect would really be finished. What? The young man was completely dumbfounded. What kind of horrifying existence would warrant the Qing Mu sect relaying such orders to the disciples? It didn't come into my mind that Qing Mu International Hotel belongs to the Qing Mu sect. So their nest is in Lian City, remarked Wang Xian plainly with a faint smile. Qing Mu sect could be considered a respectable sect. They are also one of the strongest forces in this province, Mo Qinglong added. However, an existence like this still didn't dare to be arrogant in front of Wang Xian and his group. The three of them arrived at the restaurant and ordered some dishes. After dinner, the three of them headed towards the suite. Wang Xian took a quick glance and noted that they were still eating. Therefore, he simply stood by the side and waited. After waiting for an hour plus, Wang Xian felt extremely bored. Rattle, rattle, rattle. At this moment, sounds of things crashing came from the suite. Fuck. How dare you really start a fight? A furious roar erupted from the suite. The four bodyguards at the entrance exchanged gazes before pushing the door open and entering. You are just a second-tier bitch and yet you dare to act pure and lofty in front of me? Look at your disdainful attitude when drinking with us. You must be tired of living. Let me tell you this. If you can't make us happy tonight, don't even think of leaving Lian City. An arrogant voice sounded once again as the four bodyguards entered the suite and stared harshly at Tang Yinxian. Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan exchanged glances before looking into the room. Chapter 275. No idea of death or danger. 2. Tang Yinxian stood in the room coldly as she fixed her eyes on the people before her with a calm and aloof expression. The young man was anxiously pacing beside her. Gentlemen, Director Yuan, Yinxian has always been like this. She doesn't know how to get along with others. Why don't you just forget about what happened today, and I'll make remedies with all of you tomorrow? Tomorrow? Are you thinking of leaving without entertaining us today? If you can't finish this bottle of wine, you can forget about leaving this place. A young man stared at Tang Yinxian with a pair of cold eyes. He looked at her disdainfully. Trying to act like someone noble? Haha. This fine gentleman over here, I'll drink this up. Yinxian has a concert tomorrow. She needs to protect her voice. Let me do it. The young man picked up the bottle of red wine from the table and apologized with smiles all over his face. Scram. Who do you think you are? Such a pervert. That young man scowled at Tang Yinxuan's manager coldly. When he heard what the young man said, the manager blushed immediately as he was super embarrassed. Hee. Tang Yinxian looked disdainfully at all of them. So what if I'm not giving you any face? Haha, how conceited you are. Even a first-tier celebrity wouldn't speak to us in such a cocky way. How dare you, a worthless second-tier singer, talk to us in such a manner? Everyone's expression turned cold and they fixed their eyes on him after hearing his remarks. Such a pretty girl. Would it be exciting if I just strip you down and post pictures of you on the internet? A young man exhibited a lustful look as he threatened Tang Yinxian with a flat voice. Gentlemen, this isn't a joking matter. The young man paled after hearing it. He quickly squeezed out a smile as he waved his hands. He felt difficult. At the same time, he looked at Tang Yinxian with dissatisfaction. Tang Yinxian was a talented and pretty singer spotted by him 2 years ago. The moment he saw her for the first time, he had a premonition that she would be popular. The fact was that Tang Yinxian had been a total hit as soon as she debuted, just as he'd thought. However, the subsequent developments left him powerless, as Tang Yinxian refused to accept any invitations from varieties or other programs. Sometimes, he did not know her whereabouts. Hence, he felt helpless and as if he was being treated unfairly. If she had focused on the entertainment industry, she would have become one of the first-tier stars with his resources. Yinxian, just drink some with them. It won't hurt to drink a little. The young man looked at Tang Yinxian and persuaded her. Tang Yinxian looked at her own manager, looking aloof as before. Whatever, if they refuse to hold our concert here, we can go to another city. How can we do that? All that we need for the concert is ready. How can we cancel it? This will be a huge loss. How can we do this? The young man asked anxiously. The loss is theirs since they are the sponsors. Tang Yinxian did not care as she looked at the people around her impassively. We'll just put an announcement on the bulletin board that someone is giving us trouble then. Anyway, they can refund their tickets. I guess you want us to be rough, don't you? A young man stared at Tang Yinxian coldly. Whatever. Tang Yinxian threw cold gazes at them as though they were a bunch of garbage. She picked up her zither and walked out. Bam! At this time, a bottle was hurled and smashed against the wall beside Tang Yinxian. If you dare to step out, I'll make sure you're famous throughout the country as someone erotic. A young man glared at Tang Yinxian with a darkened expression. They had invited a second-tier singer for dinner today. Given their identities as the rich gentlemen of Lian City, all they had received throughout was cold treatment. Even a handshake was a brief and aloof one. Hence, all of them were pissed off. How dare a second-tier singer put on airs? The people present here were the richest sons in Lian City. What a bother! Witnessing the event from the door, Wang Xian and the rest shook their heads. Babe, let's go, said Wang Xian to Tang Yinxian immediately. Okay. Tang Yinxian nodded without looking at those young gentlemen in the room as she walked out. Stop them now. Several bodyguards at the door responded to the low voice by blocking Tang Yinxuan's way while looking at her coldly. If you can't make us happy today, you'll never walk out of this room. We call the shots in Lian City. That young gentleman stared at Tang Yinxian before he looked to the trio outside. Get rid of the three of them and lock the door. He yelped and raised his glass of red wine while swirling it. I just want to see how cocky an insignificant second-tier star can get. Hehe, she's my type. Next to him, another gentleman did the same thing by picking up his wine glass. He sized up Tang Yinxian from top to bottom with an interesting look. Comparing to those obedient and gentle little sheep, I'm more interested in such a savage horse. TSK, it must be a sheer pleasure to tame her. Haha, you're right too. We can have a switch of taste today. Those gentlemen raised their wine glasses as they observed and made their comments about Tang Yinxian without the slightest scruple. The 4 young bodyguards at the side turned their heads over and looked at Wang Xian and the rest. Are you getting lost over here, or do you want me to throw you out? The young man said to them with a poker face. The 4 burly bodyguards gave off an inhospitable aura. But Wang Xian felt funny with their looks. The 4 bodyguards were just ordinary people who were not even martial artists. How dare they peer disdainfully and say such a thing to them? You're tired of living. Mo Yuan extended his arm and slapped them gently. An ordinary slap that did not take 1% of his strength. Bam, bam, bam. When the 4 rich gentlemen were teasing Tang Yinxian in the room with their wine glasses, the 4 bodyguards were sent flying off. They smashed hard into the dining table in the middle of the room. The wine and dishes on the table spilled all over on the 4 gentlemen with their red wine. Their elegant yet teasing expressions froze on their faces. All of them sulked as they noticed the 4 bodyguards who were lying beside the table. Very well, you have pissed us off completely. Today, I'll teach you the outcome of provoking us in Lian City. One of the young gentlemen darkened his face as he checked the mess on his clothes. He then looked slowly at the group of people. Hehe, interesting. It's been a long time since someone dared to offend us in Lian City. Tired of living? Chapter 276. Crippling your own people. The 4 young men stared harshly at Wang Xian, Tang Yinxian and the group. Their lips slowly curved into smirks as they sneered. Tang Yinxian reached for her zither as she looked coldly at them. Ancient martial artists. Hee. One of the young men looked at Mo Yuan. From the way he had defeated 4 bodyguards in an instant, the young man had determined that he was most likely also a martial artist. He squinted his eyes a little and started observing Wang Xian and Mo Qinglong attentively. I'll play along with you. The young man took out his phone and dialed a number directly. Suite 3302. Get everyone here. Oh, they are martial artists. A young man by the side looked at Mo Yuan and chuckled. Brother Tsong. They dare to hit our guys. You have to teach them a good lesson for me. Rest assured. I'll cripple their limbs and cultivation so they will remember it vividly. The young man remarked plainly and clearly had no respect for Wang Xian and the group. Their vision turned to Tang Yinxian, and a young man from the group said plainly, how should we handle her then? She will naturally be rotated among us. A young man revealed a desecrating smile before continuing, let me go first. Fuck. Can't we just go at the same time? I don't want to be the last. Haha. You sure have strange taste. However, going together is something I'm fond of too. Haha. The few young men broke into laughter and openly insulted Tang Yinxian. What's the matter, junior brother Li? Why did you call Xiao Liu and the rest from the hotel? At this moment, a voice interrupted their laughter. Another group of 4 to 5 young men arrived at the entrance of the suite with the management of the hotel. From the group that had just arrived, one of them stepped forward, smiled, and asked one of the young men that was in the room. Oh, senior brother. Why are you here too? That young man was taken aback and surprised by the crowd at the entrance of the suite. We are here with Elder Liang. I heard that you called Xiao Liu and therefore came over to take a look. What's the matter? Who's the ignorant fool that has offended you? The one who had just arrived took out a cigarette as he walked towards the young man in the suite. Just some rascals who have no idea of death or danger. I was just thinking of teaching them a lesson, the young man in the suite answered with a chuckle. Haha. Those who offend junior brother Li do deserve to be taught a good lesson. The young man that had just arrived saw the 4 bodyguards on the table in the suite. He smiled faintly and entered the suite. I'd like to see who the brazen one is. As he spoke and entered the suite, he spotted a few familiar figures. He immediately stopped and his expression changed drastically. There they are. They are some bodyguards for a 2nd-tier star. A bunch of death-seeking rascals. The young man who was addressed as junior brother Li smirked and pointed to Wang Xian and the group. He looked to the management team of the hotel that had come with his senior and remarked, cripple their limbs and cultivation before throwing them to the streets. Cough cough cough. Junior brother Li, your jokes aren't funny at all. When the young man heard what his junior brother had said, perspiration broke out on his forehead and his teeth chattered. "Call the elder over," he immediately shouted to the people behind him. Yes. Those people that had followed him into the suite also noticed the severity of the problem when they saw the three men. Their faces were covered with perspiration as they ran out, feeling panic-stricken. "Huh? Senior brother, what's the matter?" Junior brother Lee was taken aback and looked baffled as he stared at his senior brother. The young man didn't respond to him. His gaze swept across Wang Xian and the group, but he didn't dare to look them in the eyes. In fact, he was so flabbergasted that he did not dare to speak a word, or even know what to say. Even his legs were trembling a little. "Senior brother Zhao, take a look at that beautiful girl. If she meets your expectations, we are willing to let you have the first round. Hee hee." At this moment, the other few people in the suite also felt that senior brother Zhao was behaving a little strangely. Their comments instantly infuriated senior brother Zhao. He shook his head and stood there, clearly flustered and distracted. Junior brother Lee was confused over why his senior brother was acting this way. The atmosphere seemed to have frozen at that moment. Tang Yinxian was baffled. She saw the horrified looks of the young man before looking to Wang Xian. "Wang! Miracle Dr. Wang! Miracle Dr. Wang!" An exclamation sounded from outside the suite. From the voice, one could sense a tinge of bitterness. At this moment, all the people in the suite looked in shock at the elder who ran here and was staggering into the suite. His face was as white as a sheet. At this moment, the elder could only feel darkness shrouding his eyes as he couldn't help but curse why he was so unlucky. A disciple of his had bumped into the three of them previously. Luckily, he was around and stopped his disciple on time. However, another disciple came to report that another disciple of Qingmu sect had offended these three distinguished men soon after. Could it be that fate is screwing our disciples? How the hell did they offend them? "Miracle Dr. Wang, may I know which insolent rascal has offended you?" the middle-aged man asked loudly the moment he entered the suite. Anger and misery were clearly evident in his tone. Since fate was screwing his disciples, he might as well be the one punishing the disciple. "I guess you have to ask the people from Qingmu sect." Wang Xian looked plainly at the crowd from Qingmu sect and smirked. The upper management of Qingmu sect would die before offending him. However, disciples of Qingmu sect offended him one after another. "That's really interesting. Miracle Dr. Wang, I don't have to ask. I'll just cripple all those rascals," the elder from Qingmu sect remarked furiously and domineeringly. His gaze turned to the rest in the suite and was cold as ice. "Damn rascals." All the young men in the suite were dumbfounded as they witnessed the developments of the incident with disbelief. The next instant, the elder from Qingmu sect struck. He expended almost the entirety of his strength as he moved like a phantom through the suite, attacking the four young men and two middle-aged men. "Ah!" Shrill cries resounded in the suite and junior brother Lee was completely petrified. "Elder Liu, I'm Li Tsong. My father is Elder Li," he screamed in horror loudly. "In that case, I'll just have to cripple an insolent brat like you for your father," the elder of Qingmu sect growled angrily as he appeared by the side of that young man. After which, he placed his palm against that young man's limbs and elixir field. "What? Ah!" That young man was horrified. His eyes popped wide open and were filled with disbelief. An elder from Qingmu sect had crippled his limbs and cultivation. This was an elder from his own sect. Why would he do this? He stared with his eyes wide open at the three men standing by the entrance. At this moment, the elder from Qingmu sect, who had struck and crippled the 6 people, walked towards Wang Xian in fear. "Miracle Dr. Wang. I have crippled them. These insolent rascals have all been crippled. Please don't spill your anger onto the Qingmu sect," the elder of Qingmu sect remarked fearfully and wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. The few young men wailing in pain on the ground were gripped by fear by what they had just witnessed. It was no surprise now that the elder of Qingmu sect would cripple their own men. Chapter 277, Breakthrough Assistance. Even their elder was afraid to offend Wang Xian and his group, let alone allowing his own people to provoke them. They were simply digging their own graves. The young men lying on the ground were despondent. Sensing their crippled limbs and the immense pain, they blacked out immediately. Wang Xian waved his hands in dismissal when the elder of Qingmu sect apologized to him profusely. He then turned to Tang Yinxian. "Let's go." Radiance flickered in Tang Yinxuan's eyes as she sized up Wang Xian from head to toe. She quickly followed behind him after some ponderings. Initially, she thought that this youngest man among the group was only the disciple or junior of the other two inborn experts. However, she recalled something. Along with the attitude from the elder of Qingmu sect, she thought of someone. Miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown. In that case, he isn't a disciple or junior. He was the pivot point among the three of them. Tang Yinxian pondered to herself as she fixed her eyes on Wang Xian, who was walking in the middle. He was ranked 8th on Miracle Doctor's chart at the age of 20, and several inborn experts are at his disposal. Tang Yinxian was stupefied as she followed behind. The sissy young man sulked as he followed behind her. He looked at the three men who were walking in the front with awe. Initially, he thought they were just 3 bodyguards. But now, it was completely bullshit. Can the bodyguards be that dominating? Besides, he noticed that he had offended Tang Yinxian, who seemed to be displeased with him. "Qing, you may go back now." At this time, his expression changed because Tang Yinxuan's emotionless voice came from ahead. "Yes, Yinxian." He looked sullen, stopped, and headed in the other direction. Oh. Just then, Wang Xian, who was walking in front, suddenly halted. He whirled around and looked at Tang Yinxian. "Ha! May I know what's wrong, Miracle Dr. Wang?" asked Tang Yinxian respectfully after learning Wang Xian's identity. "Is there a better way to lure the killer out?" "Lure the killer?" Tang Yinxian froze for a moment as she pondered. "That's right. Lure the killer so that he can strike again." Wang Xian nodded. He realized that he could not keep following Tang Yinxian around passively. What if the killer didn't show up? Their 2 months' effort would be in vain. Most importantly, they probably would lose the killer if they could not locate him in the meantime. Mo Urson and Mo Sanyi would have died in vain. They could never have died for nothing. And they could not sit back and wait for the killer. Tang Yinxian knit her eyebrows slightly as she walked beside Wang Xian. "One thing that I'm very sure of is that the killer must have tried to assassinate me just to stop me from being the saintess of Heavenly Sound sect. If the mastermind feels that I'm a huge threat, I might be assassinated again. It's just that I'm unsure if they will take the risk after knowing I have 2 inborn experts beside me." Wang Xian frowned as he fixed his eyes on Tang Yinxian. "So you mean the killer will strike again if you have a higher chance of becoming the saintess?" "That's right. I'm looking for a breakthrough now. I have the confidence to do so within 2 months. I can probably take the risk to help you guys then," said Tang Yinxian to Wang Xian. "That's too slow. What's your current level now?" asked Wang Xian immediately. "Peak of level 9. I'm a half step away from half step to inborn. Once I reach the half step to inborn realm, I'll have a 70% chance to become the saintess of Heavenly Sound sect." Tang Yinxian answered. "Really?" Wang Xian nodded his head slightly as he looked elsewhere. "There's a park by the lake. Let's go there, and you can play me a song." "Ha!" Tang Yinxian was a little doubtful. She hesitated with a nod, but she did not pose any further questions. It was 9 p.m. at that time, and the park was almost empty. Tang Yinxian sat on a stone bench in a remote corner near the lake. She looked at Wang Xian and placed her zither on her lap. "I practice music notes that are water attribution, using the flexibility of water to make a penetration attack." As she spoke, she placed her slender and fair fingers on the zither. Ding dong tilde. As the pleasant sound of the zither played, cool and moist air surged. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. He observed the surroundings with his piercing eyes. With his vision, he saw faint water elemental energy gathering in the air. Tang Yinxian was controlling the energy movement. She could make these water elements condense into liquid arrows for assaulting or binding people. On the surface of the lake, the water ripples began to ripple outwards in the opposite direction. Fish surfaced out of the lake water with their mouths open, waiting to be fed. The entire situation formed a picture of a fairy playing zither with fish paying respect to her. "You lack something. As he gazed upon Tang Yinxuan's petite figure, he froze for a moment as he hurriedly checked her 8 extraordinary meridians. With a tint of sapphire radiance flickering in Wang Xian's eyes, a blue water current encircled him. The surrounding fish were excited as they leaped out of the water like they were jumping across it. Tang Yinxian, who was playing her zither, opened her eyes and looked at Wang Xian with disbelief on her face. Marine divine dragon was swimming inside Wang Xian's eyes, and the surrounding water elements in the air were bouncy and spirited. Ready to make a breakthrough, said Wang Xian to Tang Yinxian. Tang Yinxian was slightly stunned. As she sensed the immense water elements in the air, a sharp radiance flickered in her eyes. She immediately closed her eyes and stopped the music. Wang Xian slowly extended out his arm as he guided the water spiritual energy from his hand to Tang Yinxuan's body. As soon as the water spiritual energy entered her body, her cheeks flushed. She quickly focused, making use of the immense energy to make a breakthrough. As the water energy kept pouring into her body, the energy in the surrounding air slowly disappeared. Wang Xian frowned. He walked to Tang Yinxian and placed his arm on her back. Marine dragon energy streamed in. Boom. For a moment, intense and high-class energy was injected into Tang Yinxuan's body. She made a breakthrough immediately since she was already at the peak of her level. Vague water flowed and circulated in her body rapidly. Thank you. She opened her eyes with a glimmer of excitement. She tilted her head slightly and thanked Wang Xian with a beaming face. You're welcome. I just want to find the killer as soon as possible. Wang Xian shook his head gently. Me too. Cold radiance flicked in Tang Yinxuan's eyes. After all, the target was her. I'll display all my power at tomorrow's concert. I'm sure they won't be able to sit around after that. Tang Yinxian regained her aloof look as though nothing could affect her. Her personality was as calm as a mill pond. Well, don't worry. You will be all right even if your enemy is an inborn expert. Wang Xian nodded. Thank you once again, Miracle Dr. Wang. Chapter 278, Draw the Snake Out of the Hole. A shocking scene appeared in the 80,000-person stadium in Lian City. A beautiful girl was on the stage and singing in a soft and alluring voice. Fair and slender fingers were playing on the zither while a heart-touching voice resounded throughout the entire stadium. Several tens of thousands of people stood in the spectator zone silently. They were completely engrossed in the beautiful voice and music. In a corner of the spectator zone, a few people looked in shock at the stage. The music covers 1,000 meters and is soothing the souls of everyone. There's also water spiritual energy gathering in the atmosphere. Half step to inborn. She has reached the half step to inborn realm. This is bad. Things are getting complicated. Tang Yinxian has reached the half step to inborn realm but Missy hasn't. There's only a month left. Now that Tang Yinxian has 2 inborn experts protecting her, we would need at least 500 spiritual stones to hire the Dark Conjurer to assassinate her. That's going to cost us 500 spiritual stones. Let's get back and look through our plans again. Missy must become the saintess no matter what, and we can't tolerate any mistakes, a few people whispered softly among themselves before leaving silently. In a stadium of several tens of thousands of people, no one had noticed their departure. Wang Xian stood backstage and was watching the performance by Tang Yinxian. A smile was revealed on his face. This is what a real singer should be. Her voice is beautiful and she's at the level of a master in zither. If she was to cry with this voice. Here. Wang Xian couldn't help but think licentiously for a moment. Following which, he revealed a light smile. Soon, the concert ended after more than an hour. Tang Yinxian returned backstage, smiling radiantly. Any strong martial artist would be able to tell my current cultivation level. If they are going to make a move, they would likely do so in the next few days. Tang Yinxian smiled and said, Thank you. Wang Xian nodded his head at her. Yinxian, your performance was perfect. It is simply stunning and more successful than your previous concert. Oh my God. You are like a goddess on the stage that captures the hearts of your crowd. I believe that your fame will greatly increase after this concert. At this moment, the manager of Tang Yinxian walked in and complimented her. Upon hearing the compliments, Tang Yinxian didn't smile at all. She looked plainly at her manager and said, "This will be my last concert. I won't be appearing in front of the public anymore." "What? Yinxian? What are you saying? Please don't joke about this." The young man was flabbergasted upon hearing her and remarked hurriedly, "All right, from now on, you aren't my manager." Tang Yinxian shook her head at him. Becoming a star was just a trial for herself. It was to train her to stand in front of an audience of over 10,000 while honing her zither skills and strength. Now that her goals were reached, she naturally wouldn't continue being a singer. The young man's face sank. However, he knew that Tang Yinxian would not change a decision she had made. "I'll be staying around Lian City for the next 2 days. I believe they will strike within the next 2 days if they are going to do something." Tang Yinxian ignored the young man, looking at Wang Xian as she spoke. All right. In that case, we shall stay in Lian City for 2 more days." Wang Xian nodded his head. Lianfeng Lake was a well-known scenic location in Lian City. It was a lake that spanned several dozens of meters and flowed through 10 huge mountains. There was a trekking path on the mountains and one could reach the peak by taking it. There was also a shallow water stream below the peak with beautiful scenery. As it wasn't a holiday, there weren't many people on it. Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan arrived at the location below the peak with Tang Yinxian. The place was a little deserted and had a few benches along the way. Therefore, the group went over to take a seat. Tang Yinxian placed her zither on a stone table and took a look at Wang Xian who was beside her. "Miracle Dr. Wang, I had not expected you to be a cultivator with water attribute. I believe your strength must be at least at the level of inborn realm," Tang Yinxian commented curiously. She was 30 years old this year and her cultivation level had finally reached the half-step to inborn realm. Even when compared to her peers in the sacred sects, she could be considered one of the most outstanding disciples. However, Wang Xian had not only attained the 8th rank on the domestic miracle doctor's chart but had also reached the inborn realm by the age of 20. Such talents were exceptional and rarely seen. This made her a little curious about him. Wang Xian shook his head, smiled and replied, "Nope, I'm only level 7 currently." "Level 7 martial artist?" Tang Yinxian was taken aback and wasn't convinced. From what he had demonstrated the previous day, how could he only be level 7? However, she soon recalled that some miracle doctors had extraordinary means. Therefore, she simply nodded her head. "If there are really assassins later, Miracle Dr. Wang, you've got to be careful." Tang Yinxian took a glance at Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan before reminding Wang Xian with a smile. "Rest assured. It won't be a problem. The 2 of them can go against 4 or 5 inborn experts at the same time." Wang Xian smiled and didn't divulge his true strength. Moreover, his current level was indeed still just 7. Time passed gradually and it was noontime soon. The group got some fish from the stream and was roasting them. Tang Yinxian was chatting with Wang Xian until noon. Pleasing music sounded from below the mountain peak. Wang Xian sat by the side, smiling and watching the beautiful girl in front of him playing the zither. Tang Yinxian smiled back at him. The sound of water flowing formed a perfect melody with the music from the zither. Hearing the perfect melody, one's mood instantly improved. Hee. How fearless is she to be playing her zither leisurely in this place? She must be emboldened by the fact that she has 2 inborn experts as bodyguards. After all, that's quite an impressive lineup. The sun is setting and the mountain peak is dyed blood red from the sun rays. Let's make the red a little brighter with their blood. At this moment, 8 people stood at the peak and edge of the mountain, looking at the 4 miniature figures below them while conversing casually. 2 inborn experts. Hee. Leave the 2 inborn experts to the 4 of us. The 4 of you shall go and slay Tang Yinxian. Once you guys have killed her, we will leave immediately. As for the 3rd person, just kill him if he doesn't know what's good for him, said an old man with a faint smile. On his arm, a centipede that was approximately 20 centimeters long was crawling constantly. 500 spiritual stones. It is worth the time and effort for the 4 of us to strike. An extremely ugly old man lowered his stance slowly. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Weird sounds came from all directions and one could see countless poisonous bugs appearing in the surroundings. There were lots of poisonous bugs as they filled the area. Spiders, scorpions, centipedes, crickets. He, surround them and let the hunting begins. An old man let out a heart-wrenching cry and countless snakes charged down the peak at an astonishing speed. The 8 people at the peak of the mountain leaped into the air at the same time, seemingly unconcerned by the fact that they were on the peak more than 100 meters high. Below the peak, Wang Xian, who was watching Tang Yinxian play the zither, sensed something and immediately looked up. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan stood up, lifted their heads and squinted their eyes. Tang Yinxian stopped playing her zither abruptly as her expression turned cold. Is it them? Wang Xian asked Tang Yinxian. From their clothing, it looks like them. However, I'm not entirely sure. Tang Yinxian looked at the 8 people pouncing towards them and was instantly shocked. This is bad. They have 4 inborn experts. Chapter 279, Killing an Inborn Expert with a Single Palm Strike, 1. Looking at the 4 nimble elders, there was a huge change in Tang Yinxian's facial expression, which began to look awful. Little did I expect 4 inborns from the other party to deal with me. This, Tang Yinxian uttered in disbelief, for these were 4 inborns. To her, to have 3 inborn experts coming was itself an overstatement, given their status. It was the norm to have 2 inborns followed by a group of 7 to 8 half-step inborns. Just 2 of her top-notch bodyguards handling a couple of the inborn experts would have more than sufficed. Yet, they were now faced with 4 inborn experts with another 4 half-step inborns. This had far exceeded her expectations. Who is it? Paying such a huge price just to have me killed? Tang Yinxian wondered with a tinge of paleness across her face. Given the situation up front, there was no doubt about the impending danger. Miracle Dr. Wang, we'd better make our escape now, Tang Yinxian shrieked in panic. The assassins sent by the opponent were indeed beyond her expectations. Trying to escape. TSK. Can you now? The elder smirked. With one swift leap, he hopped onto the water's surface in front. He gradually lowered himself upon touching the surface. Venomous snakes slithered out from his sleeves, slowly hissing and slithering their jet-black bodies into the water. Heads raised and tongues sticking out, the snakes peered at Wang Xian and the gang with ice-cold stares. More than a score of snakes had slithered out from the sleeves. It was terrifying to think that an elder had that many snakes hidden on him. Tang Yinxian, targeted by us dark conjurers. Scram now should you 3 want to live. Otherwise, we'll kill all of you, the hideous elder told Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan while standing in front of them. Smack, smack, smack. While the 2 elders spoke, a group of 8 surrounded the trio, eyeing them coldly. You're the same group that tried to assassinate us previously, Tang Yinxian blurted out. Her face had gone a tad paler as she gripped onto her zither. Your bodyguards back then were pretty good, causing serious injury to 2 of our dark conjurers. But you won't be so lucky today, young lass, said the elder with no intention to hide anything, while standing atop the water's surface. To them, no concealment was necessary, for it already appeared to be mission accomplished this time. Such was the confidence of the experts. Which was also owing to the prowess of the dark conjurers. Dark Conjurer, Mo Qingling and Mo Yuan muttered as they swept their gazes across the 4 inborn experts coldly, their eyes slightly squinted. Dark Conjurers, renowned for half a century, were amongst the apex of assassination groups in the underworld. The group had tried to assassinate experts from the sacred sect in several attempts. They even managed to silence a sacred sect elder once. The same scared sect had once made an order to kill, vowing to annihilate the Dark Conjurers, which ended up having been in vain. For they had no clue as to the whereabouts of the Dark Conjurers' hideout. Since then, the fame of the Dark Conjurers had spread far and wide. Only the hidden assassins could be considered on par with them. The audacity to kill my dragon sect disciples. I shall annihilate you Dark Conjurers, Mo Qinglong hollered as he turned his gaze towards the elder. His eyes were overwhelmed with a murderous look. Dare you to retaliate, the elder challenged. This is interesting, Mo Qinglong rebutted. Kill them all, ordered the elder. With a shift, the few inborn experts lunged directly towards Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan. With not a word further, The killings came down swift and decisive as expected of assassins. What's more, these were explicit attempts made by powerful assassins. "All of you shall die," roared the duo. With one shrug, an immense demonic aura oozed out of both Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan, rampaging above their heads like an evil dragon. Their arms were slowly covered by scales, piece by piece. They resembled the arms of a wild beast. Boom! Emboldened in a powerful stance, the duo pounced straight for the 4 inborn experts with swirling devilish aura. "Oh! Such a formidable stance," the 4 dark conjurers yelped. Their faces grew heavy at the sight of the duo's stance, slightly taken aback. "The 4 of you, kill Tang Yinxian," ordered one of the dark conjurers, who proceeded straight for Mo Qinglong following one swift move. Venomous worms spilled out from under his feet and followed in his attack. "Claws of the devil dragon," Mo Qinglong roared. Looking on coldly, Mo Qinglong extended his arms. The devilish aura scampered from above his head and wrapped itself around his arms. A dragon's claw 2 meters long was formed, and it began to attack. "Slaughter," the elder ordered. With the twitch of an arm, a bone blade appeared, which he aimed straight at Mo Qinglong. Below him, venomous worms leaped in masses. They aimed straight at Mo Qinglong for a bite. However, within 2 meters from Mo Qinglong, all the worms began to twitch and shiver. They sprawled on the ground, not daring to move. As Mo Qinglong swept his claws of the devil dragon across, the look on the dark conjurer's face changed drastically. He retreated meters back. "Pinnacle Inborn, he is an expert of the Pinnacle Inborn," one dark conjurer yelled. "Joint attack," another shouted, and together, the 2 sieged an attack at Mo Qinglong. Meanwhile, another 2 went straight for Mo Yuan. "Just the 2 of you?" Mo Qinglong said smugly. As he lifted his head slightly, bouts of devilish aura circled and eyed the 2, overwhelmed with an urge to kill. The audacity of them to kill members of the dragon sect. "For that they shall be annihilated." How formidable. Tang Yinxian glanced over at Mo Qinglong in shock. Yet, upon seeing the 4 inborns as they made their attack on her, a subtle change of expression flicked across her face. She strummed her zither gently. Once the zither was suspended in mid-air, Tang Yinxian began strumming rapidly. The melody from the zither switched from its usual light-hearted tune to that of one filled with chill and bloodthirst. Like a thunderstorm, it plucked at heartstrings and pricked at the core. "Stay right behind me, Miracle Dr. Wang. I'll deal with them," Tang Yinxian said to Wang Xian with a heavy look. Zoom, zoom. Streaks of water began to form above the tune before transforming almost immediately into 4 sharp arrows. They darted straight for the 4 half-step inborns. After the arrows were formed, Tang Yinxian strummed again. Voom, voom, voom. Suddenly, ice needles formed from the water appeared alongside the 4 dark conjurers, surging past. Such a powerful melody, no doubt a disciple under the heavenly sound sect. "A target worthy of so many top assassins from us," the quartet claimed. They were slightly surprised upon seeing the attack but managed to recover quickly with smiles. "A greenhorn in the world of the half-step inborns, regardless of power, shall die," they smirked. Piercing daggers held by the quartet sliced through the ice pricks before coming straight for Tang Yinxian. "Such speed," Tang Yinxian said and closed her eyes briefly as they narrowed involuntarily. Swish, swoosh. Eerily, water from the stream behind her began ascending towards the sky. "Oh no," Tang Yinxian exclaimed. It was at this instant that the black snakes hopped into the water streaks. It forced Tang Yinxian to open her eyes instantly, where a tinge of embarrassment had flashed across. Ding! With the flick of her finger, a water streak transformed into a sword and cut straight at the snakes behind her. Then came another ambush from the back. "Mph, meet your doom," the 4 dark conjurers claimed. In an instant, they snuck like ghosts and shot over with their piercing daggers. Chapter 280, Killing an Inborn Expert with a Single Palm Strike, 2. Heavenly Sound Acute Strike. Seeing 4 assassins approaching her, perspiration broke out on Tang Yinxian's beautiful face. Her fingers moved quickly on the zither and dense water attribute energy shot out like a waterfall. Ding! Shit! Suddenly, Tang Yinxian was shocked to notice that a string on her zither broke. She slammed both of her hands heavily on the zither and a dense layer of water appeared in front of her. The layer of water that spanned 5 to 6 meters and possessed immense energy swept towards the 4 approaching assassins. Haha, there's a saying in Heavenly Sound sect that goes, one perishes or thrives with his instrument. What an apt saying. When the 4 half-step to inborn experts saw the string on Tang Yinchuan's zither break, they smiled with bloodthirst. The 4 assassins waved their daggers heavily. Dazzling glow shot out from the daggers and split the layer of water. Bam! Crack crack crack. The 4 daggers landed on the zither, breaking it. Cracking sounds broke out. Let's go. Seeing her broken zither, tears welled up in Tang Yinchuan's eyes. Nonetheless, she turned around rapidly and, to the astonishment of Wang Xian, carried him up and fled in the opposite direction. Wang Xian was shocked to be carried by a beautiful girl. Picking up the scent of Tang Yinxian, Wang Xian was slightly embarrassed. He had wanted to make his move previously. However, he had not expected Tang Yinxian to carry him away. Do I need a woman to protect me? Wang Xian was speechless. However, he felt a little apologetic when looking at Tang Yinxian. She chose to carry him away while sacrificing her beloved zither. This made Wang Xian a little touched. Escape. If you can escape from the hands of us, the Dark Conjurers, we wouldn't be known as the Dark Conjurers. An arrogant voice propagated, and soon, 4 hidden weapons shot towards them. Shit, hidden weapons. Tang Yinxian was shocked. She immediately stopped in her tracks and dodged the hidden weapons by landing on the water surface. She had Wang Xian carried in one hand as she was worried he would fall into the water. As she turned around, her face turned as white as a sheet as she saw the 4 assassins approaching. Pa 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 pa. The 4 assassins surrounded Tang Yinxian and stared mercilessly at her. Escape. You've got to ask if we, the Dark Conjurers, agree to it, the 4 assassins said mockingly while staring at her. It's over. Tang Yinchuan's pale face stared intensely at the 4 half-step to inborn experts from the Dark Conjurers. She turned her head to Wang Xian and remarked with a bitter expression, I'm sorry. I had not expected these assassins to be this strong. Sorry for implicating you in this. Seeing her apologizing to him, Wang Xian shook his head in embarrassment. Luring the culprits out was his request and now they were stuck in such a situation. Wang Xian felt that he had gone overboard by acting weak. It's all right. We will be fine too. Wang Xian smiled plainly at Tang Yinxian before scanning across the 4 half-step to inborn experts from the Dark Conjurers. Tang Yinxian was confused to see Wang Xian smiling. However, Wang Xian's voice sounded at this moment and disrupted her thoughts. Although my strength is that of level 7, killing them is still an easy task for me. As she heard Wang Xian's response, she saw Wang Xian smiling at her. For cries sounded around her. Tang Yinxian was astounded as she looked around her immediately. Her eyes popped wide open as she looked on in disbelief. The 4 half-step to inborn experts were being held by water streams. Horror filled their faces as they desperately tried to break free with all their strength. However, their attempts were futile and their bodies sank below the water's surface. Their eyes were filled with desolation and horror as they slowly sank below the surface. Sink, said Wang Xian light-heartedly. Cough, cough. How is this possible? The 4 assassins' eyes widened as their bodies sank gradually towards the bottom of the waterbed. You! Tang Yinxian turned her head around immediately and stared at Wang Xian in awe. Feeling her arm still wrapped around his body, Tang Yinxian immediately let go. Hee. I wanted to make a move previously but you. Suddenly, Wang Xian shrugged his shoulders as he saw the expression on Tang Yinxian changing and her eyes shimmering. Why didn't you make a move earlier? TSK. Tang Yinxian sneered, turned around and dashed for the shore rapidly. A poisonous snake attempted to bite her but was sent flying away with a wave and died horribly. When she reached the shore and saw the zither that had cracked, she took a deep breath, slowly lowering her body and looking desolate. She picked the pieces up one after another. Wang Xian smiled bitterly and looked at the battle between Mo Qinglong, Mo Yuan, and the other 4 assassins. A cold murderous light flashed in his eyes. Mo Qinglong was pinning down 2 inborn experts. He was just like a devil dragon in human form as he swung his dragon claw around. The two experts from the Dark Conjurer battling him looked wretched. On the floor, the poisonous bugs weren't moving at all. Some were dead while others were shivering in fear. "Finish that guy quickly and help us out." That ugly old man was trying to defend himself bitterly as he shouted to the two experts from the Dark Conjurers fighting with Mo Yuan. Damn it! The other two experts from the Dark Conjurers were engaged in a bitter battle too. Although they had the upper hand against Mo Yuan's horrifying physical body didn't allow them to take advantage at all. It would be extremely hard for them to defeat Mo Yuan. How could they be so strong? The four experts from the Dark Conjurers thought to themselves bitterly. They were planning to flee the moment Tang Yinxian was killed. "You shall pay with your lives for killing the people from our dragon sect. We will definitely eradicate the Dark Conjurer." Eradicate! Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan shouted in unison as they launched a fearsome barrage of attacks. "I'll definitely eradicate the Dark Conjurers." Wang Xian walked over and locked onto the four inborn experts from the Dark Conjurers. The next moment, he struck. "Shit! Where are An Ying and the rest?" When the old man that was engaged in an intense battle with Mo Yuan saw Wang Xian attacking him, he was shocked. A bad feeling welled up in him. "Just a brat and you're thinking of interfering. Let me kill you first." The old man broke free from his battle with Mo Yuan instantly. Moving like a phantom, he attacked Wang Xian. Bam! As an assassin, his movement techniques and speed were definitely top class. The old man was extremely fast as he attacked Wang Xian. However, the speed he was knocked back at was also very fast. It was as though he was hit by a cruising airplane. A black figure was knocked back. Bam! The body of the old man was entrenched into the mountain directly, his eyes still opened wide and filled with disbelief. What? The other three old men from the Dark Conjurers were completely dumbfounded as they looked across. They saw that young man brushing off the dust from his hands casually, killing an inborn expert with a single strike. This. A short distance away, Tang Yinxian, who was picking up the pieces of her broken zither, saw it too. Her eyes opened wide and were filled with astonishment. She wasn't as composed and calm as she used to be at all. This rascal. Chapter 281, crushed the Dark Conjurer with the Abyss, 1. Finding it hard to believe, Tang Yinxian gritted her teeth in anger. How could this fellow have not taken a strike, given his incredulous powers? The fight would have ended long ago had he done so. Moreover, as she looked at her zither, she felt more enraged. To the Heavenly Sound sect, the destinies of the zither and its owner are intertwined. To make matters worse, this zither had been gifted to her by her mother. Although this zither was no longer on par with her standards, she could not bear to have it replaced. In the absence of her mother, the zither helped to alleviate some of her longings. But now, the zither had been ruined. How is this possible? Just how could this be? The three Dark Conjurers fighting with Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan shrieked in astonishment. Fixing their gaze at Wang Xian in disbelief, their faces changed drastically. "All followers of the Dark Conjurers shall die," Wang Xian proclaimed. Despite his somber expression, he let out a glimpse of a smile. Since it was an assassination group that had murdered Mo Urson and Mo Sanyi, they shall be annihilated. "Spare one, so we can find out about the Dark Conjurer's hideout," Wang Xian said dully. "Trying to locate our base. Dream on. You're never going to find it, even at the cost of our lives," the hideous elder snapped with a grimace. His body was showing patches of crimson, to which all surrounding venomous worms were drawn to him. As they flew over, they attached themselves onto his body. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The worms penetrated through his skin and into his body, forming patches of blood pus. The fact that they came in shades and hues made them appear all the more grotesque. "We will seek revenge for us Dark Conjurers. All of you shall perish, including your loved ones," said the nasty-faced elder. Meanwhile, the attire on him started to melt rapidly as it gave off buzzing sounds. A foul smell, with a mix of stale blood and whiffs of venomous liquids, was emitted from his body. Soon enough, a monster-like creature emerged right before their eyes. With a swerve, the monster lashed directly for Mo Yuan. Run, two dark conjurer experts shouted, a drastic change of expression striking across their faces. With a swift turn, they tried escaping to further grounds. Trying to escape? Can you? Mo Qinglong challenged them as he gave chase. Venomous creature? Mo Yuan quizzed. He looked on coldly as the monster approached, about to attack. As a member of the bloodline of the divine dragon, and one who practiced the devil powers, he showed no fear in the face of venom. How disgusting! Wang Xian yelled. As he looked at the creature, which was oozing with the corpse fluid of venomous worms, he flanked his arm. Streaks of water flowed from the riverbank and gathered over to his side. Seizing the opportunity, Mo Yuan swept his dragon's claw past and smashed the claw into pieces. Following the attack, Mo Yuan shifted his stance and chased after the two dark conjurer experts with lightning speed. Given the capabilities of Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan, it took them little effort to apprehend the duo who were seriously battered. Bam! Appalled, the two elders were flung onto the ground, faces overwhelmed by pain and despair. Raising their heads, they saw Wang Xian and the others approaching, and greeted them with grimaces. Never in their wildest dreams had they expected to fail this mission. Prior to this attempt, it had appeared to them that nothing would go wrong, having dispatched 4 inborn experts. Nonetheless, they still failed. On the other hand, killing them appeared so effortless, thanks to the existence of this formidable trio. From what they could recall, the only time they'd had to face such formidable experts was more than a decade earlier. During which, the sacred sect had sent out orders to exterminate the dark conjurers. The entire sacred sect was deployed, and it was only then that the dark conjurers felt a looming sense of crisis. Yet, this trio had given them the same impression this time round. Force it out of them. Make them spill out about the dark conjurer's hideout, Wang Xian told Mo Qinglong as they stood beside one another. Yes, young master, replied Mo Qinglong while nodding. Slowly, he walked over to one of the dark conjurer experts and stared coldly in his face. Ha! Trying to make us spill on our hideout? Dream on, the two elders snapped. They glared on, eyes filled with bloodthirst, and as they turned, they were ready to end their own lives. Bang! With quick reflexes, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan reacted swiftly. Kicking at one of the elders' elixir fields, they managed to stop them from attempting suicide. After all, they had been trained assassins. Trying to end your life? How could we let you have it that easy? Mo Qinglong snorted with a dismissive face. Ha! Ha! Laughed the two dark conjurer elders. Despite looking miserable, their gaze remained prickly cold. Extreme disdain swept past their faces. You won't get any information from us, not even the sacred sect could manage. What's more, you people amongst all, asked the two elders. Seems like there has been some serious brainwashing going on for these dark conjurers. Mo Qinglong responded, slightly embarrassed. With a fling of his arm, he emitted a bout of devilish aura. The aura circled the duo's noses, eyes, and ears, before making its way into their bodies and entering their minds. In an instant, the duo went into a daze, appearing as though their minds had gone blank. Out with it. Reveal your hideout, Mo Qinglong questioned flatly. Ha ha. Ha ha. The two elders laughed goofily. Suddenly, this was followed by a loud cry. This made Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan uneasy. Just kill them, Wang Xian replied, jaded. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan nodded as they looked on awkwardly. Little wonder why they remained in existence, despite the sacred sect issuing the order to kill. Each member of the Dark Conjurers has been hypnotized with a mental block. There's simply no way of learning about their base from them, they said in realization. That remains to be seen, Wang Xian interrupted. Looking towards the river flow, he spotted a few of the black venomous snakes and peered at them coldly. Oh! Do you have a plan in mind, young master? Mo Qinglong asked, somewhat stunned by the remark. There's a way, Wang Xian answered with a faint smile. He wanted to achieve what the sacred sect could not. This time, we'll wipe out the dark conjurers. We'll get a hold of the one who gave the order to kill us, and get rid of them altogether, Wang Xian proclaimed placidly. As he did so, he stretched his arm out slightly, pointing in the direction of the river flow. Instantaneously, the snakes shivered. As they lowered their heads, they swam towards Wang Xian, cowered in fear. "TSK, TSK. TSK, TSK." 3 snakes hissed as they lay beneath his feet, overwhelmed by fright. "You happen to know where the dark conjurers are hiding?" Wang Xian asked the snakes composedly. Meanwhile, a message was being transmitted into their brains. While the snakes were not bright creatures, they still knew a thing or two, to say the least. The 3 snakes nodded their heads, as if in response. "Good." Wang Xian returned with a toned smile. While the dark conjurers could induce a mental block on their assassins, they could not do the same on snakes. Never would the dark conjurers have expected that as a divine dragon, Wang Xian could command other living creatures, even understanding them in their language. Prowess of the divine dragon rules the entire animal kingdom indeed. Old Mo, summon those dragonians from the abyss as well. We should challenge those seniors since they too have founded a similar group. Let's see if we can pick up some of their skills. Wang Xian instructed Mo Qinglong as he broke out in a radiant smile. "Yes, young master. We'll contact the abyss right away," Mo Qinglong answered while nodding. To think that these 7 founded the abyss without a single henchman. How absurd, he chuckled. Let them be. The abyss doesn't need much manpower anyway, so long as they're able to helm control over the world. Wang Xian laughed back. With the abyss, we shall crush the dark conjurers. Chapter 282, Crushed the Dark Conjurers with the Abyss, 2. Tang Yinxian, for the next month, let me arrange a safe place for you. We have some matters to attend to. Walking back from Lianfeng Lake, Wang Xian looked at Tang Yinxian, who was hugging her broken zither, and spoke to her awkwardly. It's all right. I'll go back to my sect. I will be extremely safe there. Tang Yinxian took a glance at him and soon turned her head back. I'll tell my father that your mission has been completed. Wang Xian nodded his head and the group found a hotel within the city center. On the second day, the 4 of them took a plane to Ning City. This was the sacred ground of the Heavenly Sound sect. Having sent Tang Yinxian safely into her sect, Wang Xian looked at Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan and asked, "Have they arrived?" "They are all waiting at the Dongling mountain range," answered Mo Qinglong as he nodded his head. Dongling mountain range was the largest mountain range in the country and spanned over 1,000 kilometers with a width reaching 200 to 300 kilometers. It was also the largest primitive mountain forest in the country. Within this primitive mountain range, there were various kinds of wild animals and a Dongling river that was several hundreds of kilometers long. Famous mountains and huge streams were known to be the breeding ground for monsters. At the edge of the Dongling mountain range, Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan approached rapidly. There were few people in this area and they were surrounded by pine trees, red spruce trees, white birch trees, poplar trees and many other kinds of plants. Every single tree was huge and over 10 meters tall. Between the trees, there was a small path that led to the mountain ranges. At this moment, barely anyone was using the path. "Young master, they are in one of the mountain peaks ahead." Mo Qinglong pointed to the highest mountain peak in front of him. Wang Xian nodded his head. Moving off, he was like a huge rock spreading his wings as he leaped several tens of meters in a single jump. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan followed closely behind him. Dragon King. At the peak of one of the mountains, 7 figures in black attire stood on 7 different trees. Seeing that Wang Xian had arrived, the 7 of them immediately went on their knees. Not bad. Wang Xian scanned across the 7 people and revealed a smile. Among the 7 people, 3 of them had reached the half-step to inborn realm while the other 4 were level 9 martial artists. This was a remarkable improvement. Let's go to the nest of the dark conjurers, Wang Xian said to the 7 people. Yes, Dragon King. The 7 people lifted their heads. To Wang Xian's surprise, all of them put on masks. They were masks made of metal with the design of a horrifying and savage devil. At the location of the forehead on the masks, there was the word kill in red. The mask together with their black attire made them look extremely dangerous. That's pretty cool. Wang Xian smiled as he looked at the 7 stunning masks. Dragon King, we have a few more here. A Dragonian took out 3 more masks and passed them to Wang Xian, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan respectively. Haha, just right. 10 of us. Wang Xian laughed as he put on the abyss mask. The mask felt a little cold but was comfortable. It also didn't affect one's breathing and speech. Wang Xian didn't know what material it was made of. Together with the black casual sports attire he was wearing today, it was quite a good match. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan also received the masks and wore them. In that instant, a faint silent killing aura surrounded the group. Let's go. Moving his arm, a black poisonous snake appeared on Wang Xian's hand. The head of the poisonous snake pointed in a certain direction. The 10 of them moved rapidly as they pivoted off the mountain peaks that were 500 to 600 meters tall. They were just like figures in mythology who could cover several tens of meters with a single leap. What a majestic view! Wang Xian landed on the tip of a tree on the mountain peak as he looked around and was slightly shocked by the scene. Within the primitive mountain ranges, there were wild boars, rabbits, chickens, and all kinds of animals running around. As the poisonous snake did not have its intelligence manifested, it couldn't express an exact location. Therefore, the group could only search for the location. Nonetheless, their speed was incredibly fast. When moving at full speed, they could reach 100 kilometers an hour. Splash! After moving through the mountain ranges for 4 hours, a huge waterfall appeared in their sight. Below it was a huge river. This must be the Dongling River, Wang Xian thought to himself before taking a glance at the surroundings. Let's take a break here. Go get some wild animals to eat. Yes, Dragon King. The Dragonians nodded their heads and dispersed to the surroundings to look for food. Wang Xian walked to the edge of the river and looked at the waterfall. Soon, the Dragonians returned with wild chickens, rabbits, and some fish. Wang Xian opened his mouth, took out the Dragon Ball and placed it on the floor like a piece of roasting equipment. The wild animals were delicious and more fragrant than typical meals. The aroma of the meat could whet one's appetite. Wang Xian sat on a stone bench while observing the surroundings with a faint smile. Rattle, rattle, rattle. There's water ahead. We finally found a water source. This mountain is really dirty. Wash up and let's have lunch. I wonder if we could find that spiritual treasure. There are people here. At this moment, a group of over a dozen people walked out from the forest. The group was made up of men of different ages. They had uniform-style longswords in their hands and everyone wore identical yellow attire. The group walked out from the forest of the mountain and looked inquisitively at Wang Xian's group. When their eyes fell on the masks on their faces, they were baffled. What a strange group of people. They are most likely martial artists. They whispered softly among themselves and headed towards where the river was. Xiao Yuan, get a few people with you to hunt some wild animals and start a fire here. We will be taking a break, a middle-aged man instructed a few young men. Yes, master. The group of young men nodded their heads before dispersing. Some went into the forest while others went into the river to catch fish. I guess they are here to capture that spiritual animal too. It seems like there will be several sects and families who will be here. The middle-aged man took a glance at where Wang Xian and the group were before whispering to the 2 old men beside him. Hee. We certainly must get the spiritual animals. Within this vast mountain range, there are really lots of treasures, an old man commented confidently as he observed the surroundings. The middle-aged man beside him smiled and revealed an equally confident look. Wandong, come over. Lend me your sword to start a fire. Beside them, a young man shouted at the other man. Don't use my sword. We can just start a flame by getting a spark from the others. That young man pouted and directed his eyes at Wang Xian and the crowd. All of them are wearing masks and are likely not very sociable. The young man saw Wang Xian's group wearing masks and reminded softly. Haha, we are just getting a spark from them. Moreover, they have to remove the masks at some point to eat. Otherwise, they will have to tear their food into shreds before eating. The young man chuckled and walked towards Wang Xian directly. Chapter 283, Crushed the Dark Conjurer with the Abyss, 3. Gentlemen, could you spare us a fire to start ours? A young man said to Wang Xian and the gang as he approached. But soon enough, he was stunned by the sight of the Dragon Ball on the ground. Emitting a gentle flame, the Dragon Ball helped to roast the peasants and hare caught in the wild. Gentlemen, this fire starter of yours, What is it?" the young man asked as he expressed his shock. "There's no fire to lend." "Off you go," a Dragonian replied to the young man apathetically as he raised his head. Donning a face mask from the abyss and speaking indifferently, the Dragonian appeared strikingly aloof. As he saw the Dragonian's icy gaze, the young man turned and stepped away. "Just say so if you don't wish to spare." "No need to say there's none when it's just right there," the young man pouted. When he returned, he was received by another young man in sarcasm. "Aha! Why did you fail?" "Like I said, one look and you can tell that group of men is difficult to get along with," the latter remarked snidely. "Humph, just a few who can't even show their faces. What's so great about them?" the young man complained in resentment. "Though I have to admit, their fire starter looks pretty amazing. It's a bead colored bright crimson. And the bead emits fiery red flames from the top," the young man continued. "A flame bead?" this fellow asked with a face full of doubt, slightly taken by surprise. To which, the young man replied, "Yeah, a bead. One which emits streaks of flames from the top." "A bead?" came a questioning voice. The conversation between the young men was overheard by several middle-aged elders nearby. Astounded, one of the elders sporting crimson hair began to shift his gaze. He looked over in the direction where Wang Xian and the gang were. When he spotted the dragon ball on the ground, a glow flickered over his eyes as they narrowed. "What is it, old Hua?" a one-eyed elder asked. He had a look of doubt on his face, as if sensing something amiss. "That's a flame bead," the red-haired elder exclaimed while turning his head. As he said so, his eyes squinted into a deep gaze. "Flame bead, huh? That's a spiritual treasure of the fire element," the one-eyed elder said in response. "To think that they're using such a gem to feed a fire. What a waste," the red-haired elder continued. To which all the middle-aged elders sitting around turned their heads and looked over with sparkling eyes. Every spiritual treasure has its strengths. Those of exceptional powers can even help their owner challenge someone to a class-superseding fight. The crowd fixed their gaze on the spiritual treasure which was sustaining the fire with a glow in their eyes. After exchanging glances, the elders said "come on" in unison and slowly made their way over. "Greetings, I am Lung Wujian from the Guangshan Sword Sec." The red-haired elder introduced himself. While walking over, he eyed Wang Xian and the gang, but his eyes were mainly fixated on the Dragon Ball. "Speak." Mo Yuan answered sparingly. "Everyone, it's a waste to be using this flame bead for a fire. I would like to buy this flame bead with 50 spiritual stones." "What do you say?" the elder offered. Although spiritual treasures such as the flame bead and water bead were not exceptionally rare, an ordinary flame bead would have cost anything between 60 to 70 spiritual stones. 50 spiritual stones, as offered by the elder, was a price much lower than usual rates. "No, we're not selling. Leave us alone," Wang Xian rejected outright as he looked over at the five. "Are you not?" the red-haired elder inquired again, completely unaffected by the response. He briefly skimmed past the people around. Stretching his hands, 10 steel beads appeared in each of his palms, each the size of a thumb. Which thereafter, went straight for Wang Xian and the gang, and began to attack. But each one of the steel beads had not struck them at their vital points, which made it obvious that this was merely a test. Bang, bang, bang. A Dragonian swung his arm, and the stones lying around began swerving towards the metal beads in counterattack. Scores of stones had managed to intercept the steel beads mid-air. The red-haired elder exhaled. His eyes dimmed wearily, seeing how one person was all it took to intercept the attack by his 10 steel beads. Standing next to the red-haired elder, the one-eyed elder waved his arm at Wang Xian and gang. "Ha ha! Such kung fu skills you have, gentlemen. I'm in awe," he praised. Meanwhile, the one-eyed elder exuded a mild but powerful inborn aura, which could not go unnoticed. "Sorry to have disturbed you, gentlemen," the elder excused himself and gave a wide smile. As he turned around to take his leave, the rest in his company followed quietly and left with glistening eyes. "Heh!" A few Dragonians gestured as they eyed the elder and company, before turning towards Wang Xian and the gang. "Kill!" Mo Qinglong ordered in a single word when he saw Wang Xian remaining silent. "The masked man who stopped my steel beads earlier. He's rather capable, a half-step inborn expert to say the least. But the abilities of the other 9 are unknown, commented the red-haired elder. We'd better not antagonize them since we don't know what they're capable of, the others chipped in. Such a pity though. I wonder what level that flame bead of theirs is. The group of middle-aged elders trailed off as they went. It was very common for people to kill and loot within these deep mountains and meandering streams. But they were more alert in comparison, having tested the abilities of the other party. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Just then, they heard the sound of stomping coming from behind. The faces of the 5 intensified and they turned around immediately. They saw a group of masked men coming straight at them. They were closing in for a fierce attack as ferocity filled their faces. What? The elders screeched, mildly shocked. They have a death wish. How dare they attack us, hollered the red-haired elder. With an unyielding face, he drew his long sword. Ha! Do you realize your foolishness for testing an assassin from the abyss earlier? A Dragonian ridiculed unsparingly. As bloodthirst filled their eyes, the Dragonians charged directly at the elders. Mo Yuan too made his move, and he targeted straight for the one-eyed inborn elder. Whereas the other 3 half-step inborns focused on the red-haired elder. After all, Mo Yuan was an inborn expert as well. Assassins from the abyss, blurted the crowd from Guangshan sword sect, slightly startled. Faces dimmed as they drew their swords immediately. I don't care who you guys are. By attacking us, you're asking for doom, the red-haired elder and one-eyed elder bellowed in unison. In a change of stance, the duo imposed a terrifying inborn aura, which surged ahead toward Mo Yuan's group of 8. TSK, I'll send the bunch of you to the abyss, a Dragonian remarked. Send them to the abyss, the rest of the Dragonians chimed in and charged ahead with bloodthirst. Send us to the abyss, one of the middle-aged elders mumbled. Little by little, his face was overcome by shock. You are assassins from the abyss, the elder shrieked in realization. What? Assassins from the abyss, 5 elders yelped in a state of panic. Assassins from the abyss, or the abyss in short, was a group of powerful killers that had newly emerged in the underworld. The abyss became known after having wiped out another assassination group within the underworld. In addition, they had risen further in fame when they assassinated an inborn expert from the gambling city within a short time span. This powerful force had made their mark despite its recent establishment. This no doubt made it a force not to be reckoned with. Assassins, one of the most haunting existences in the underworld. Faces on the members from the Guangshan sword sect grew bleak. Never had they expected to incur the wrath of the abyss assassins with a mere test. As for the assassins, they would show no mercy. Incur their wrath, and endless killing awaits. Chapter 284, Crushed the Dark Conjurer with the Abyss, 4. I'll send you guys into the abyss. What a catchy slogan. Wang Xian sat by the side and watched the 7 Dragonians chanting the slogan. On his face, a smile was revealed. The 7 Dragonians created the abyss and wore the abyss masks. Together with the slogan of I'll send you guys into the abyss, they looked extremely attention-grabbing and cool. He looked plainly at the 7 Dragonians battling the crowd from the Guangshan sword sect. These 5 people from the Guangshan sword sect were rather interesting too. They were probing and trying to find out the strength level of Wang Xian's group initially. When they realized Wang Xian's group were stronger, they immediately wanted to leave. Wang Xian was sure that if the other party found them to be weaker, the other party would definitely kill them and plunder their valuables. A group with no idea of death or dangers. What a stupid way to die. Assassins wouldn't be merciful. When the Guangshan sword sect wanted to probe about their strength level, their outcome had been decided. Shit. Master, elders, and the vice sect leader are fighting with them. At this moment, the disciples from Guangshan sword sect, who were starting the fire and returning from their hunting in the forest, were shocked to see their people engaged in battle. I'll send you guys into the abyss. That's the slogan of the abyss. Assassins from the abyss. They are assassins from the abyss. How did vice sect leader and our elders offend them? The group of Guangshan sword sect's disciples were flabbergasted. They immediately grabbed their long swords and stared worryingly at the battles. The young man, who had gone to borrow a light, was breaking out in cold sweat. Looking at the group of people in black attire and wearing the abyss masks fighting with his vice sect leader and elders, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Luckily, he had not made rude remarks about them. Otherwise. However, he soon recalled that he seemed to have mocked them previously. Ah! At this moment, 3 cries resounded. The old man with red hair and the old man with a single eye were surprised as they looked to the side immediately. It's time to enter the abyss. A cold and deep voice sounded as the 3 middle-aged men lay on the floor. Their eyes were wide open and their expressions were filled with disbelief. Die. The savage-looking masks appeared in front of the old man with red hair and the old men with a single eye. Feeling the powerful and intense attacks, the 2 old men were horrified. Why did we offend them? The despair that originated from the abyss slowly crept upon them. Their eyes were wide open as they narrowly withstood wave after wave of horrifying attacks. Bam! In less than 20 seconds, 2 figures smashed heavily towards the waterfall. Signs of life had completely slipped off their bodies. Just 2 exploratory inborn experts, and yet you dared to mess with us? Mo Yuan looked at the corpse being carried away by the waters with contempt before returning to the side of Wang Xian. The other Dragonians also turned their heads over and returned to their initial position. However, one of the Dragonians paused and looked towards that young man. No, don't kill me. Don't kill me. That young man, who had mocked them previously, was shivering and flustered as he noticed the assassin from the abyss that had easily killed his vice sect leader and elder looking at him. The other disciples of Guangshan sword sect were also horrified as they stumbled back constantly. Your tongue is a little loose. Let me send you into the abyss. That Dragonian stared at the young man. The next moment, he moved. No, don't. The young man waved the long sword in his hand and was screaming with desperation. Ah! Cough, cough. Soon, the cries died down. He landed on his knees before falling flat. SSS. The Dragonian walked back to his position emotionlessly, ignoring the remaining members of the Guangshan sword sect. The remaining disciples of the Guangshan sword sect were shivering in fear at this moment as they witnessed the development of events. Run now. They are the devils of the abyss. The group glanced at the 10 people wearing masks before running away in the opposite direction in horror. We will move out after eating. Wang Xian looked plainly at the corpses around him and didn't say another word. The abyss wasn't the embodiment of justice. If one had no idea of death or danger and offended them, his outcome would be identical to what the 7 Dragonians had said. I'll send you guys into the abyss. Let's go. After finishing the meal, the group dashed towards the depths of Dongling mountain range again. We are almost there. After an hour, Wang Xian slowed down abruptly and spoke to the Dragonians around him. He landed on the peak of a mountain and placed the poisonous snake on the ground. SSS. The black poisonous snake flicked its tongue out before crawling forward rapidly. Wang Xian and the group followed closely behind. SSS. Just as the poisonous snake surmounted 3 peaks, it stopped and flicked its tongue out rapidly. Wang Xian and the group who had been following it were taken aback. Ahead of them, countless small poisonous bugs lay on the ground. The black poisonous snake flicked its tongue and these poisonous bugs seemed to have picked up the scent of their kind as they moved aside and opened a path. Poisonous bug. This mountain has lots of poisonous bugs. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and looked around him. On one of the branches, there was another black poisonous snake resting. If they were careless and were ambushed by it, they would likely die on the spot. On a stone a short distance away, a scorpion lifted its tail up high. A faint green glow was shimmering on its tail. We are likely nearing the nest of the dark conjurers. Wang Xian smiled faintly and commented, the surrounding defenses of the dark conjurers are much stronger than the Flame Palace. Even an inborn expert could fall and lose his life here if he was careless. Wang Xian waved his arms and the grass below the group grew at an astonishing speed. The grass slowly surrounded them and prevented the poisonous bugs from attacking them or leaking the information of their arrival. If the assassins of the dark conjurers could breed such poisonous snakes, these poisonous bugs would definitely be able to tip the dark conjurers off secretly. Their bodies were almost entirely covered in grass as they followed behind the poisonous snake. After surmounting 2 additional mountains, they noticed more and more poisonous animals. In fact, Wang Xian even saw a terrifying poisonous snake that was over 6 meters long. The fangs of that poisonous snake were as huge as a person's fingers and looked horrifying. It would likely be able to kill experts below the inborn realm. Dangers are really lurking everywhere. Wang Xian observed the surroundings attentively. When they arrived at the peak, a huge mountain valley surfaced in front of him. Within the valley, there was a lake. The lake was connected to the Dongling River. The entire lake within the mountain valley was shrouded in fog. Heavenly rocks were flying over the lake and trees were grown around the lake. It was a majestic view. Who would have expected the center of what the poisonous animals were guarding to be such a beautiful lake? Wang Xian looked down and saw the poisonous snake still crawling quickly. Its target seemed to be the lake in the middle of the valley. Wang Xian wiggled, released himself from the grass that surrounded him, and followed behind the poisonous snake. Grr! Woof! Woof! At this moment, an angry roar propagated and shook the atmosphere. The surrounding trees rustled from the shockwave. What? Wang Xian was taken aback and looked to his left. Chapter 285, Heavenly Hound. It was a hound, about 1/2 meter long. It had a really long tail, where its yellow fur was especially luscious, extending for scores of centimeters. A patch of fur concentrated on its upper front legs was exceptionally long, measuring up to 1/2 meter. With a full body of thick and rich fur, the hound exuded an overwhelming elegance. Just then, the hound ascended more than 100 meters with one leap, ending up on a tree. Arching its head, the hound roared and howled like a fox. Its sharp eyes fixated on what lay behind. Over there! It's over there, the crowd shouted. As Wang Xian looked over, he saw hundreds of men chasing after them. These men were from more than a dozen forces. Amongst them was a group whose attire had a huge Sheng character written in the middle. This symbolized the sacred sect, one of the great powers. Meanwhile, this group of men looked terrible. Many of them had even gone stale in the face, aided by others. It was obvious they had been attacked by the venomous objects lurking around. Astonished, Wang Xian looked on. He recalled what was said by members of the Guangshan sword sect in their meeting earlier. They had come to capture the spiritual animal, and it appeared that the hound up front could be it. It was an exceptionally formidable hound. One whose abilities were that of inborn level, to say the least. Yet, as Wang Xian swept his gaze across the multiple forces, he spotted inborn experts in every one of them. This made them no less powerful. A young man looked fixated on the majestic hound as it stood atop the tree. He was wearing the attire with a Sheng character on it. Still trying to escape? Try that again, and we'll make dog soup out of you once we've got you, the young man boasted with a smug look. An elder skimmed past the various forces. This creature will make a good sacred animal, guarding the doors for us sacred soul sect. Therefore, take your leave everyone, he claimed squarely. His face exuded an air of dignity, which tolerated no defiance. The able shall own the spiritual creature. Even if a sacred sect is around, we're not going to make wasteful trip. Otherwise, we'll suffer huge losses, another elder retorted in a low pitch. Behind him stood several young men. They had been poisoned, their faces a bluish hue and covered in bandages. That's right, fair competition. Should your sacred sect win by merit, we'll concede defeat wholeheartedly, another elder continued, expression dimmed. Having expended so much effort, the loss incurred would be great should they simply back off. They simply could not take this lying down. As a display of their determination, all the forces remained where they were. While the Sacred Soul sect poured over the various troops, the faces on their members grew darker. All right then, it's decided, they replied coldly. Charge. Capture the heavenly hound, and bring it back to our sect for taming. With the Sacred Soul sect members nodding resignedly, an elder charged forward. He went straight for the heavenly hound, which stood in front of the lake. Charge everyone! Charge! Shouted multiple voices while the crowd pressed on. Upon hearing the commotion, Wang Xian questioned, Heavenly hound? Pondering, he glanced over at the dignified creature. At the same time, he realized that the venomous snake had made its way into the lake. It was swimming towards the lake floor. Wang Xian showed little interest in this heavenly hound. Instead, he went after the snake in a shift of position. "Come on, we need to catch up with the snake," he hurried. Yet, as they made their dive and suspended in midair, they were suddenly attacked. "Scram!" the opponents shouted. Bouts of counterattacks came at Wang Xian and the gang. "Don't block our path. We, Sacred Soul Sect, are bent on this heavenly hound," the attackers demanded. As they warned, they continued attacking Wang Xian and the gang. Wang Xian said and squinted his eyes briefly. He paused and landed on the ground immediately. Courting death. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan snapped. They looked on with savageness in their eyes, as the experts from the Sacred Soul Sect chased after the heavenly hound. They had merely wanted entry into the lake. Yet, they were met with counterattacks and forced to retreat. "Make way and scram. You bunch of masked men who can show no face." 3 inborn experts from the Sacred Soul Sect darted across the sky. A group of half-step inborns and level 9 martial artists followed closely beneath. They scowled at Wang Xian and gang who were standing in their way. The power and prestige of a sacred sect were obvious to all. Wang Xian knitted his brows. "Come on. Let's get within the lake first," he continued with glistening eyes. Wang Xian paid no attention to the crowd that had gone all green-eyed as they fought for the heavenly hound. In one move, he dived straight into the lake. Casting one final glance at the disciples from the Sacred Soul Sect, Mo Qinglong and the Dragonians followed closely behind Wang Xian. Splash! The group of 10 plunged into the water. A handful of disciples from the Sacred Soul Sect stared at Wang Xian and gang, mildly astonished. But they recovered quickly and regained focus on the heavenly hound. Wang Xian and the gang had entered the waters. As Dragonians with the bloodline of the divine dragon, they were able to breathe with complete ease underwater. Even their combat powers would not be the least bit hindered should they battle underwater. Wang Xian was shocked by the snakes as he saw them swimming towards deep waters. "Don't tell me the Dark Conjurer's hideout is situated at the floor of this lake?" Wang Xian commented. The entire lake measured an area of about 5 square kilometers, making it very large. And the snakes were swimming deep into it. But the snakes had not swum towards the center. Instead, they advanced closer to the direction where a mountain range lay. That's," Wang Xian exclaimed and narrowed his eyes. Looking ahead, he could see a stone gate standing 3 meters below the lake floor. Behind the stone gate lies the mountain peak. To think that the Dark Conjurers have their hideout located within a mountain peak. What's more, their entrance is located in a lake. How covert. Little wonder why they could not be wiped out by sacred sects, even with full manpower, Wang Xian thought to himself. Peering over at Mo Qinglong and the rest, he signaled to them briefly. The group nodded in acknowledgement and arrived at the stone gate. Wang Xian looked at the stone gate, which was completely sealed. He extended his arm, and gradually his palm turned gold in color. Pat, pat, pat. As he stuck his palm in, it broke the stone gate and forced an opening in the shape of a human silhouette. Shrugging his body once, Wang Xian isolated the lake waters surrounding them. Boom! The stone gate burst open and glowed from its interior. Wang Xian showed himself in. He swung an arm and left the Dragon Ball at the stone gate. As the Dragon Ball glowed with red lights, it prevented the waters from entering. "Come on. Let's head inside," Wang Xian said to Mo Qinglong and the gang. With no further words, Wang Xian peeked over and headed inside. The entire cave was winding, like a giant staircase, spiraling down as it went. There were no guards standing watch along the walkway. There was no need for them, it seemed, with such an intricate base. They descended along the staircase. When they reached the end of the path, Wang Xian was shocked by the sight ahead of him. Everything was beyond his expectations. In fact, it was way beyond. As it turned out, the Dark Conjurer's hideout was not within the mountain peak, but rather it was beneath the lake. The entire surface above resembled a marine life park. Transparent glass of unique composition was placed right above the hideout. This prevented the lake waters above from seeping in while allowing sunlight to pass through. Within the entire base of the Dark Conjurer's hideout, houses of moderate height sprouted in lines. They looked no different from the housing landscape on the ground above. So that's how it works. Wang Xian exclaimed in gradual realization. The base of the Dark Conjurers is located within the mountain valleys. They had their base built within the mountain valleys, before setting off an explosion at the mountain peak, creating a channel. Linked to the Dongling River, the channel allowed the river waters to enter the region, forming a gigantic lake. A perfect camouflage was thus formed. What a flawless Dark Conjurer's base it is,